A little bit louder. Okay, you're good. And then Dennis? Yep, we're good.
Walk-ins are welcome. However, pre-registration is highly encouraged. Job seekers may pre-register free online at job.com.
Go ahead again.
Print and bring the confirmation.
Yeah, can you do, actually, Larry, can you do number 4 again? Because that sounded kind of weird. Number 4? That sounds really low. It's low.
7801 East Orchard Road. For more information,
and it's 59 right now. It's a little bit better. You know, let me ask. Hey,
editor.com.
Yep. Because that's really low. On number 4, talk again, Larry. Yeah, it's something's wrong with 4. Yeah, the girls are going to be there. Charlie's going to come in, and it's not 5925, John.
I find that a lot of people, the turning point in getting their health back is really focusing on their diet.
Colorado Wellness with Dr. Stephen Olson.
I want to get rid of the really nasty things. One of the things I like to say to people is when you're reading a food label, and I have a degree in chemistry, so I'm fairly good at reading this type of thing. If you can't pronounce it, you probably shouldn't eat it.
Get your health and wellness questions answered by Dr. Stephen Olson on Colorado Wellness. Wednesdays at 2 during ATX. Ask the experts on KLZ 560.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at KLZ560radio.com.
Again, do it. That sounds a little bit better, honestly. 4.
Station.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Lady of blessed acceleration, don't fail me now.
It's time for Drive Radio, presented by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Whether you need help diagnosing a problem,
They want to ask you a bunch of questions. They want to have them answered immediately.
or just want to learn about all things automotive,
Hey, how exactly does the positive track radio on the pedals work?
it just does. Then you've come to the right place. So start your engines, buckle up, and get ready to ride. Drive Radio starts now on KLZ 560 The Source.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560, along with Dennis Brewster, who is in studio with us, Stacia Hamp, and Emily Warrington from Community Auto will be with us here momentarily. They're updating their commercials,
That's good.
which is a good thing.
It's good to have you back.
Thank you. Thanks for filling in while I was gone, by the way.
And like I was saying, I think I did 4 weeks this month. But that's
Welcome to my world.
Yeah, I know what it feels like.
Larry's world, too.
Yeah.
Welcome to Larry's world.
So I really have to say I appreciate you guys coming down every week doing this. This is a lot of work.
It makes for a 6-day week.
Yes, it does. Yeah.
You really enjoy your Sundays when you do this.
You do. And sometimes you just don't want to do anything on Sunday.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I pretty much on Sundays, people will call and say, you want to go do such and such, or you want to do this, you want to do that? And it's sort of like,
I don't think so.
not really.
I want to just kind of kick back.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff to do at home, so.
Especially those of you listening, we've got a big snowstorm coming in first of the week. So that'll keep a lot of us out there busy. Some of you even listening will keep you busy. So I think my forecaster this morning said something along the lines of 12 inches.
Yeah, I saw your forecast. You sent it to me. I think that's what I saw.
12 inches. Yeah.
12 inches? Yeah. And I've heard up to 18, so I don't know. It's all over the board.
It's traced to 18.
Yeah. Yeah.
Isn't that how it works?
Yeah. Yeah.
Traced to 18.
Right.
Well, at least it's not 40 inches like they had last weekend back in
Yeah.
wherever it was, the East
I had
Coast.
cousins and relatives back there and a nephew who's teaching in the Air Force now. And he just moved back there from Florida or from California. He's like, holy cow, I went from sunny California to 3 feet of snow. They couldn't even go outside to dump their trash, to get into their trash cans. Their doors were kind of snowed in and stuff. So,
Wow.
yeah. Yeah. And then I'm thinking of John. Man, he must be really roughing it where he was.
No, I wasn't roughing it. I was enjoying it. Trust me.
I know. And a couple of months, the middle of the month, I went snowshoeing over to Marine Park, or is it Marine Park? State Park over there by Cripple Creek, and it was beautiful.
Wow.
It was nice
Cool.
and sunny.
Cool.
but we took on a little bit more than we could chew, I think, because we went 6 miles on snowshoes,
A lot.
and we've never done it before.
That's a lot.
Yeah, going up the hills was
That hurts.
Yeah,
That hurts the next day.
yeah. I was having a hard time running up the stairs at the work.
All right, we got calls coming in already. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. First question of the day. I'll get to our topics in a moment, but we got a question coming in, Dennis, and I said okay. I asked this person if it was okay to answer it on air, and he said, sure, that would be great. So, 2002 Grand Cherokee, 4.7 liter engine, recently had to replace the alternator at the end of December during a cross-country move. The only alternator available in the middle of Kansas was a remanufactured unit from CarQuest with a lifetime warranty. In the past 2 weeks, I've started to develop a whine/moan when I turn the engine off. The whine and moan only lasts for about a second after the engine shut down and only happens during shutdown, not during startup or while the engine is running. What could cause the whine/moan only during shutdown? His best guess is a pulley tensioner that may need replacing, but he would like to know what we think.
Yeah, is it an electrical whine or kind of a more?
Sounds like it's in the engine, sort of an engine type whine. I don't think it's in the alternator, so I'm guessing if it's not whining while the engine's running, it's not in the alternator. It could be belt, could be tensioner, and if Alan was sitting here, he would say, well, if that's the case, you need to replace all of it anyways, so put a belt and tensioner both on it and do that in combination.
In 2002, probably.
Yeah, I would do both.
I would start there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if the belt doesn't look bad, replace it, put the tensioner on it, and see what happens to the noise.
Yeah. I wonder if he put a new belt on when he did the alternator.
That would be, that's a great question. So if you're listening and you want to email me back on that, did you actually put a belt and or a tensioner on it when they did the alternator, or was it just a quick fix? They slapped an alternator on it and off and off you went because you're out in the middle of nowhere. Could be.
I'm seeing if it was an electrical whine, I would think it's a diode inside the alternator. Could be doing that
Could be also. Hard to say. And honestly, this is one of those, and it's Weston. So Weston, this is one of those noises where really somebody needs to probably listen to it and try to determine what's going on. So if you could drop it by a facility, one of our Caller Select facilities, and have them listen to it, that would even be better. But again, if it hasn't had a belt and a tensioner on it, I would start there anyways, just out of maintenance.
Right. And if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can just go to Drive-Radio
and find one near there.
Shops.
Exactly right. Find a shop near there. Or find a shop near you there is what I should say. Randy in Castle Rock, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, guys. I had something pretty funny I just wanted to throw out here for you.
Sure.
And it just goes to show that if you take your car to somebody like Extreme and Parker, this will never happen to you.
Well, thank you.
Because they did very good work for me, reasonable price, honest.
Right on.
What you need in a mechanic.
Right on.
But anyway, let me get to this. I was glancing through the internet and said, why mechanics love women?
Okay.
So I flicked it on, and it starts right there. He goes, so he tells the girl, okay, you brought your car in, you need a front-end alignment and an oil change, all right? But we found a couple other problems. He goes, now, you have, looks like you have halogen light bulbs. He goes, we're going to need to top those off with halogen fluid. He said, that's going to be $100 each. And then he said, so put your left tires on the right side and right side on the left. We're going to, get that right. I said, that's about $50 a pop. He goes, well, I don't know how this happened, but somebody stole your transmission. He goes, she goes, I need one of those, don't I? He goes, yeah. He goes, but your particular car comes with two. Now, how often do you drive in reverse? And she goes, well, when I come out of the driveway. But anyway, so he got it for that. And last of all, he goes, all right, you're missing the cigarette lighter, and we do have those. They're free with installation. The installation fee was $75 to get that in.
Yep.
And about that time, she goes, well, I got to call my dad and see how much I can, if I could borrow some money. And then he admitted, that your dad had us pull this prank.
Yep. That was a prank done by a morning show years ago. I can't remember exactly where, but there's some audio out on the internet where you can actually listen to that. It's pretty good, actually.
It's really funny.
It is extremely funny. It's way funnier than I could ever do it justice.
That halogen fluid, that really got me. And then the installation fee for a lighter, $75. I was like, come on, man, leave that girl alone.
The funniest thing is cars today that don't even have lighters. Very few cars even come with lighters now.
Right.
Yeah, the smoke free or whatever.
Yep. It's an optional thing now if you want a lighter in the car.
But Randy, you bring up a good point, because if you don't do your research and know what shop you're taking your car to, you can get, not to this extent,
but you get hoodwinked.
Yeah, you could.
That's exactly right. No, that's exactly right.
This is my third state. My first mechanic was 10 years. I had one here for 9 years, so we had a falling out, and I got a new guy. And the most important, they're all smart. They're all really good.
Yeah.
But you need someone who's honest, who's not going to take you. And I got that exact combination at Extreme Automotive on an 02 Grand Am.
Awesome.
Thank you.
And
Good man.
they did what I wanted. And all right, they you know, I can call them a discount place, but they didn't sell me something I didn't need.
Right
To me,
on.
that's the same thing.
Good deal.
Same thing.
Good deal.
So
Randy,
kudos to those guys.
really appreciate that very
Yeah,
much.
thank you so much.
Yep. Thank you. Appreciate that
And
very
kudos
much.
to Extreme.
All right. Appreciate it. Thanks, Randy.
Well, I should be
Dennis,
my
kudos.
commercial guy.
Kudos.
Yeah,
You can actually cut that out and just reuse it.
Right. I'd love to. Yeah.
Oh, hey, you're welcome to do that. Just
Yeah.
tell the guys here at the station you want to do that, and
I'm
we'll make
coming
it
on
happen.
Tuesday to do some stuff, so
There you
and I'll
go.
be on the show with you.
Piece of cake. So that works out great.
Yeah, that works.
No,
out
it's
really
it's good. Dennis has a great place, and by the way, we don't advertise this enough on Drive Radio. $16, 99-cent oil change, Extreme Auto Repair.
Right.
10274 South Dransfeld Road. Drop on by, and they'll take care of you.
And I drive around with a car, a Ford Focus. It's a shuttle car I use, and on the front hood is $16.95. And if someone ever calls me on it, I'll do an oil change for $16.95. But
No one ever calls you on it, huh?
no, but that's okay.
The car says $16.95.
on it. Yeah, because I haven't changed the sticker, and I thought
Got it.
that way there I'll know if that car's working.
That's true.
Yeah,
Good way of doing it.
yeah. And then I have to give a kudos out to all my guys because they're the ones who I've trained and talked, and they're doing the right things when you hear that.
Yep.
Because even though we're owners and stuff, and we want our business done a certain way, is it get done that way? No, but if you get a hold of the owner, it will.
That's right.
You know.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. Today, several topics we want to cover. One, how the racing industry is changing and how that may actually affect you in the future. Some of you listening that aren't race fans are thinking, why do I care? Well, as we get into the topic, I think you'll see real quick why you should care, because there are some things happening in the racing industry right now that could very well affect you in the future. Also want to talk about the value of fixing older cars and where you need to be careful not comparing that value of the repair to the value of the car, because they may not be one and the same. We'll get into
Right.
some of that as the day goes on. And then I also had another article I wanted to bring to you, Exploding Automotive Myths. There's like 6 or 8 automotive myths that people still believe that I read through most of them, and I would agree with the majority of these that those myths have been shot down by now, but people still believe them.
Right.
There's a lot of hardcore myths out there.
Yeah, there is.
Really are. We'll get into details. One of them, just as a teaser, one of the myths that you still hear even in the industry, even from those in our industry. Yes, unfortunately, 3,000 3-month oil changes, 3,000 mile 3-month oil changes. That's a myth. It's a thing of the past. Late model cars don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, if you're running synthetic oil, you don't need it.
You definitely don't need it for sure.
Yeah.
But now, if you're running an older car, I've got an old 68 Buick Grand Sport in that particular era. Yes, you change the oil 3 months, 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
We are so far past that, and the average age of the vehicle on the road today is what about 13 years of age?
Right.
The average fleet that's on the road today, the 3-month, 3,000 mile oil changes does not apply.
Yeah, and Ray and I were talking about that last week when we were on, because the one thing that I see a problem with that could be is that you don't get your car in often.
That's right. They don't look at it often enough.
Yeah, so maybe we need to look at that and see, as the owner, the shop, we need to look at that and say, well, how do we get that customer back in?
Right.
Not to charge them money. That's not
No,
the
just make sure
thing.
things are in order.
Yeah, because
especially on older cars.
Because some of these people that are driving 5,000 miles might not come in for 6 months to 8
Right.
months.
And that may be too long for some of them.
Yeah, and you might be
Exactly
into
right.
brakes, into the rotors.
Exactly right.
Because that's one of the things we check on a 3,000
one of the things we should discuss today is what should be happening, and if shops are doing it correctly, when they're doing that oil change at that $4,000 or $5,000 mark, you better be doing a full bumper-to-bumper inspection for the customer.
Yeah.
And if brakes are getting down to, say, 430 seconds, you better be telling your customer that, this may not make the next 6 months
Might
when
wanna
you
come
come
in
back
about
in for an oil
2,000
change.
miles.
Exactly, because
Yeah.
you may not make it that full 5,000 miles.
Right. And we get some customers, not very many anymore, but we've had like 1 or 2 that get upset about us checking out their car. And we're not checking it out for us. We're checking it out for you.
Right.
So the condition of your car, because it doesn't mean
That's right.
if a shop checks out your car, it doesn't mean you have to go to that shop to get that work done.
Nope.
And they shouldn't be, beating you up trying to get you to do that work. It's your car. You decide what to do with that car.
The worst complaint as an owner in the 28 plus years of owning shops that I own, the number one complaint that I always got was, John, if you'd have just told me we needed these things done the last time I was in, I probably would have had them done.
Yeah.
Because usually they were complaining about having a breakdown or being out on a road trip and having something happen.
Right.
And you know what? They were exactly right. Had we done a better job of inspecting the vehicle when they were in the last time, they wouldn't be in the position that they were in that particular day they were calling me. So one of the biggest things I hounded on my guys on constantly was that vehicle needs inspected front to back every time it's in, period.
When I first got in, I got yelled at by a lady because she says, "You did not check out my car completely, and I trust you.
Right.
I trust you to let me know the condition of my car." And that's what we do. It isn't that they have to get it fixed by us, but we just want you to know the condition of your car so you can make rational decisions.
If your shop is not doing that, find a new shop.
Yeah.
And I mean that sincerely.
And especially if you're telling you better get this work done. If that comment should never come out of the mouth.
That's exactly
what
right.
it should say is, I would recommend getting this done right now first.
Hey, my biggest complaint in my own fleet shop is, guys, you've got to look at these things front to back, because the last thing we need is a breakdown in the middle of who knows where, because it just costs us money when that happens.
Right. Like I tell my guys, I've on these tow trucks, especially in our loaner cars.
That's right.
Have I ever told you no?
Right. Fix them. Get them handled.
I want it fixed.
Exactly. And most owners out there driving, it's the same situation. Right. Let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back, and we'll get into how the racing industry is changing, how it may affect you in the future. Now, something else that's changed here recently that I need to keep mentioning is, used to be this particular show was rebroadcast on Sunday, just the last 2 hours. Well, starting about 2 weeks ago, it is now broadcast in its entirety, all 3 hours on Sunday. So if you missed something on Saturday, you want to catch it again on Sunday, you sure can. Instead of 10 to 1, it's 11 to 2. On Sunday, you can catch the entire program in its entirety. So some of you that used to listen on Sundays and had to go back and find the podcast for the first hour no longer need to do that. On the same token, if you do miss any of the show and you miss it on Sunday, you can find all of our podcasts at drive-radio.com. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. All right, here on Drive Radio, Dennis Brewster, John Rush, KLZ 560.
We're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new adaptive wood brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Especially important this time of year is to check the tire tread depth. Whether you prefer all-season radials or snow tires, just make sure you have enough tread. If you're not sure, stop at any Colorado Select Car Care Center and they'll check it for you. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE-certified master technicians driven to provide exceptional customer service. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we won't try to impress you with a waiting room with a big screen TV and lattes. What we will do is give you good service and expert repair. We pride ourselves in being interested in you and your vehicle. We stand behind our work with the power of Napa Auto Care and a 3-year or 36,000-mile warranty. And if needed, we do have a customer waiting area. Come see us at Arvada West Auto for all your repair needs. We are located at 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or call 303-422-1065 for an appointment.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing. But most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility. And they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right, John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560, Dennis Brewster from Extreme Auto Repair, Stacia Hamp, and Emily, I make sure I say the last name right, Warrington or Warrington?
Warrington.
Warrington, that's what I thought. So Warrington from Community Auto up in Fort Collins. Ladies, thanks for driving down, and got a little snow coming this weekend, or I should say late Sunday into Monday, so see what it does for you guys in the shop world. should make it busy here after the snow subsides a little bit. But Monday will be interesting. We'll see what happens.
And it's kind of weird because I can hear that we're getting a ton of snow and you guys aren't getting anything up in Fort Collins.
I know. It's like two
or
different
vice
worlds.
versa. You guys are getting pounded and we're out there in
this particular one, you may get more pounding than they do. We'll see.
Yeah. we got some last week, and I mean, we were getting a snowstorm, and they were saying, "Yeah, Denver's not going to get too much." We had like 3-4 inches out there, and we're like, "Why aren't they reporting this?" You know, but that's the way it goes.
Timbuktu for you.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
All right, 303-477-5600 is our phone number. Give us a call. We'll get your questions answered. Lines are open as we speak. 303-477-5600. So, ladies, since we finally have you here. I say finally because we've been working on this for a while, getting you down, and I know the holidays came and all sorts of things happen, and hey, it's just the way it is, and especially when you're an hour plus away, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But thanks for joining us. So tell us a little bit about Community Auto. You guys have been on before, but it's been a little bit. So what do you guys do? What do you specialize in? You're not the repair men or women. You're running the front office, the service counter, and all of that. You've got technicians doing all the work. Talk a little bit about all that.
Yeah, that's correct. We've been in business for 20 years now, and Dad opened shop in '95, and now his sisters are pretty involved. Emily's running all the social media campaigns,
okay.
And I'm up front, and also doing a lot of back end stuff.
Dad's still around?
Yep, Dad's still there.
Okay.
Thank goodness.
Thank goodness. As much as he used to be, or has he been able to slow down a little bit with you guys taking over?
We're hoping he can slow down pretty soon. He deserves it.
Yeah. But he kind of probably wants to keep his hands in a little bit.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So family business.
That's the way guys are.
Oh, yeah.
Family business, dad, daughters.
Yeah.
So who does all of the repairing of the vehicles themselves?
Oh, so we've got some fantastic technicians. They've actually been with us for years.
Okay.
One of them over 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
good.
And actually, also family back there too. We have my brother-in-law Alex. He's our lead tech.
Okay. So
Yeah.
very much family business.
Yep, very much.
That's what we love. That's the way it works. That's typically means there's not always better communication, because I have a family business and I know how that works, but typically better communication and there's typically more care for the business and the customer because everybody knows that they're in it together. Not that the typical employee doesn't care either. Don't get me wrong in that, but there's something about family that's just different than a lot of other people that you may have working for you. I just know because I've been in a family business my entire life. I know how that works. It's your name is on the line, and it's a big difference at that point. You can't walk away. The typical employee, they can just say, "Yeah, Dennis, see ya.
Yeah,
I'm gone."
Yeah.
But when you're family, it's a little harder to do that. So I know exactly what that means, ladies. So okay, any types of vehicles that you guys specialize in, or do you work on most anything?
Most anything, but really specialize with like Fords, GMs, and imports. Yeah.
Okay. And I was going to say, there isn't too many things that we've sent your way that you've said, no, don't send me that. Most everything we've sent your way, it's been, yep, we can take care of that. So I can't think of anything I've sent up to you guys that you haven't been able to, take care of and handle. Location. We talk about you guys being up north, but we really haven't said exactly where you're at. So where are you exactly located?
We're in Fort Collins. We're on Timberline, just south of Prospect and north of the police station there.
Okay. Off of I-25, about 10 minutes or so?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
And John and I went up and visited your shop, and it was very impressive. I was really impressed. I went back and tried to talk to my guys about things that I saw, little things that I pick up. And that's one thing beautiful about the Color Select when we go around and visiting other shops and we see that, we can pick up little tidbits here and there.
Yeah, you guys do a good job. Nice
and
facility.
your dad was a great man. Meeting him was really cool.
Those of you that haven't been up there yet and had a chance to go in, those of you that are on the north end of the state, even those of you in Wyoming, it's only a 45-minute or so drive from Cheyenne down to where you guys are at. So, it wouldn't take much to drive down from Cheyenne if you need some work done. A real easy trip. Just, head down I-25 and piece of cake. You're right there. Fort Collins isn't that far away. And what I would tell you is, great experience to Dennis's point when you walk in. Facility is laid out well. You guys have got a really nice, clean, thought out, really nice shop. You guys have done a great job. So hats off to you. It shows you that it doesn't matter whether it's male or female running a shop. It's all about the customer and how you do your systems.
Thank you.
Right?
Yep. Thanks. Absolutely.
Now, those of you walking in the door, if you expect to see a bunch of grubby old men behind the counter greeting you when you walk in, that's not the case there, is it?
Not at all. It's far from that.
It's very far from that. It's very appealing, very nice. You ladies that are out there that with it, maybe sometimes feel a little bit uncomfortable walking into some repair shops because of what I just mentioned. You go to Community Auto and you're definitely not going to feel that way. It's a very welcoming, female-friendly environment, mainly because most of the females up there are running it, right, guys?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's how it works. Not to say Dad's not ever around, but you get my drift. You know where I'm going with that, right? You very much have the ladies' touch on the business. I really like that. Let's go to Brett and Parker. He's got a question. Brett, welcome to Drive Radio.
Hey, thanks so much. My daughter just graduated from college and is working, and part of working night shift is a lot of time on her hands sometimes, and she found a car and ended up taking it home from Nissan last night on a test drive. It's a 2010 Nissan Rogue and 127,000 miles. Dad's freaking out because guess what he did until 1 a.m. researching on the internet about transmission problems.
Right.
And she's got her mind set on this, and I need to know, is this something we should look at or steer clear of? I know they extended a warranty on that transmission.
What they extend it to, or have they given her anything in writing on what they'll do on that?
Well, no. I mean, the factory has an extension to 120, which is used up.
Right,
I mean,
which doesn't help her at all. Right.
Right. So the dealership on Arapahoe basically said they do a 2-month unlimited mile powertrain that requires, of course, failure or something like that. And everybody I'm reading on the internet says it's heat and altitude. Driving up in the mountains, going long distance when it's hot, and it starts slipping and airing out.
Right.
But,
yeah.
I need your help.
Okay, first things first. What kind of dollars are they asking for the car? Let's start there first before we get into all the details of whether it's a good car or a bad car. Let's start there. How much?
Just under 12, about 11.9.
Okay. And you've done some research. How does that compare to what you're finding out on other lots, Craigslist, et cetera? What are you finding when it comes to the price of it?
Pretty much right in there. I mean, this is the SL. It's got all this stuff in it.
Okay.
So it's loaded.
Okay.
It's loaded up. I mean, and it looks clean. I mean, I'm not seeing anything. It was late when we got over there, so I need to take an inspection.
Yes, you do.
Scope.
Okay, here's the next question. What has she done with the dealership at this point? Has she signed anything? Did they just let her take the car?
Nope. She just has it on a test drive overnight. And I'm on the way up to Tyman's now because they've got one for $1,500 more with only 90,000 on it.
Okay.
So that would get me that 30,000 cushion for
it would potentially. But look at both cars and see. Have them both inspected, see what you may find that the one you're looking at now is maybe as good a car as the other car, only $1,500 less, and that $1,500 on down the road, as you have to do a transmission, which you will have to do at some point on that car, you will do a transmission. I don't know how long that'll be. Will it go 180, 150, 200? It's really hard to say. Depends on who's owned it before, how they've maintained it, how they've driven it, all of those factors. And that's something you won't know in either car. So until you get it inspected and have somebody actually look at it, you really won't know that. You may find the one you have now is as good as the other car. It's hard to say.
You know what? One thing I would do is I would put both places against each other and say, which one of you guys is going to give me a free extended warranty on this car?
Yeah, if you could get a powertrain warranty extended that would handle the transmission. On this show, we typically do not recommend buying an extended warranty, but in this particular case, knowing the history of that transmission, probably not a bad idea on that car.
So, and then of course the 2011, 2012s jump up in price quite a bit.
That's because the transmissions are also better in those cars, though. That's partially why that's the case.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I was going to ask you. Should I just tell her, I tried to tell her to wait,
what can she afford?
More money and spend a couple more. Oh, she can afford. I mean, she just graduated from nursing school. I mean, so that she's been working her new job for 2 months.
Okay, but she'll make good money. So the one thing with her that is a plus is she will never be out of work and she'll always have a good income. So, question being, can she spend $3,000-$4,000 more on a couple of year newer car and avoid some of what we're even talking about?
Right.
If so, I mean, I've got a daughter that's a nurse, so I know a little bit of this from firsthand. She'll never be without a job.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Ever. And if she wants to put in the hours, I mean, you know the routine. She has to start on night shifts and all that. But if she'll work it, she'll make really good money. So, getting the car paid for, to my point, is not a big deal. It's a matter of what do you want. That's not a bad car. It does have some room for her to grow as far as the family goes on down the road. It's got the 3rd seat capacity in it. So it's a nice car size as far as that goes. Can she step up a couple years newer? If so, I think I'd recommend that versus buying the 2010.
Okay. All right. That's what I'm going to try to tell her. I mean, if she's got her mindset on the 2010, I was going to go for the one that still has 30,000 left on a training warranty.
Or do what Dennis said and get them to throw in an extended warranty. Just see which one will do that.
Wouldn't
matter at that point.
It wouldn't matter at that point. I would do it on both of them and just see what they're willing to do.
Either one of those cars with an extended warranty wouldn't make any difference. You're close enough on mileage where it's not a problem.
Talk about, but you guys, I mean, I've listened to you guys a lot. So you beat up those extended warranties, and I had problems years ago.
Make sure it's the right warranty. Read the fine print, and you could even fax us a copy, and I'll tell you whether it's a good warranty or not.
Yeah.
But given warranty on the CVT, I'm not caring about the rest of the vehicle, but on the CVT itself, having an extended warranty would be nice because you are going to replace it at some point in the future.
Yep, and you don't really know. I mean, from looking at the forums, it's all over the map when they go back.
That's right. It's exactly right. All has to do with how it's been cared for, who's driven it, and so on.
What about adding on an aftermarket cooler to it?
At this point, probably isn't going to do much because whatever damage has been done.
One of the problems with that vehicle, the reason why the trainings were going out is because the manufacturer they put a program in there basically to make that transmission shift softer.
Feel like it's shifting, right?
Yeah, and what it did is it did damage by doing that. It created problems by doing that. So then they went back in and tried to do an update on it, which made it even worse. So it's just those are not the best trainees.
If you could step up a couple years newer, I would.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Thanks, great
guys.
questions, by the way.
Care.
You bet, Brad. Appreciate it very much. That's a great question. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. We got 2 lines that are full, one that is open. Art in Westminster, hang tight. We'll give you an answer on your 2000 Buick on a repair question you've got. Greg has a comment on an email that we read earlier. So hang tight. We'll be right back. We got 1 line open. Again, John Rush, Dennis Brewster, Stacia Hamp, and Emily Warrington. We'll be back right after this. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Your car's fuel economy was never better than when it was new. But time and miles have robbed your car of its MPG and performance. Service managers recommend BG44K to remove carbon and restore mileage in just 1 tank of fuel. In fact, dealerships nationwide use BG44K almost 3-to-1 over any other product. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com.
BG. Can you imagine selling your car next week and saying to the buyer, hey, don't worry, because the engine is covered against failure for life. It's called the Lifetime Protection Plan for the Engine from BG Products. This huge benefit free with your next oil service when you remember these 2 letters, BG. BGMOA is available at over 20,000 shops nationwide. Find yours at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. BG.
John Rush here. I want to talk to you about your pets. I know it's a little weird on Drive Radio to talk about pets, but it's something that a lot of us have. Pets. I have one. I brought a couple of gentlemen along with me today that also have pets. So, David and Dan.
Hey, John.
Dan,
hey,
first of all, what kind of a pet do you have?
I've got a Shih Tzu.
Okay.
Little black Shih Tzu.
Okay. David, you?
I have a 3.5-year-old Alaskan Malamute.
So, question I have for you two guys is, are they a part of the family?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, my gosh. Kona is like blood.
Okay. So, if something happens to them, making sure they have proper care is like of the utmost, I'm guessing?
Oh, it's very, very important. Money's usually no object.
Okay, so I have a great place you guys can actually take your pets to get them taken care of. It's the Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center. It's owned by Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle. They're longtime supporters of Drive Radio. And not only do they want to make sure that your pets get taken care of, but they've also got a full showroom of goodies. So if you need anything for your pet, they've got prescription dog food. They've got a full pet grooming facility, pet training. So if you've got a puppy or maybe even an older dog that you need to have some training done on, this is a one-stop shop. And guys, you probably know this as well as I. When you walk into most veterinarian clinics, what do they smell like?
Oh, not good. Like animals.
You get my drift.
Oh, yeah, unfortunately.
When you walk in here into Lone Tree Veterinarian Clinic, It is not that way at all. It smells like a really professional, just like any doctor's office you would walk into. That's the way this thing works. So I would encourage you guys, use them. It's Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle. Their phone number 303-708-8050. You can find them at LoneTreeVet.com.
Life has consequences, and a consequence of a poorly maintained fleet of work vehicles is the unfortunate timing of a breakdown. Your customers are counting on you, and one breakdown could be a deal breaker for the customer your driver was trying to reach. Maybe that customer has clients of his own who are demanding an explanation, and so on. How long do you expect to be in business when your customers think you are unreliable? Your solution? Tilden Total Car Care. Using state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet, Tilden can actually anticipate maintenance items before they become major repairs or ultimately breakdowns. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden Total Car Care today and ask about their fleet maintenance program. Call 303-797-7977. 303-797-7977. Tilden Total Car Care, helping as many people as they can, as fast as they can. Federal in Bellevue and Inglewood, and 6th and Peoria in Aurora. Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming.
This is the last one.
Of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
All right, and back to the snow forecast. Looks like the north end of town is going to have quite a bit also. Looks like by the time the storm is over, you could have 14 to 18 inches. We'll see how that goes, but those numbers may be tweaked by tomorrow some. But we got snow coming, so let's get right to the phones. One line open, 303-477-5600. Art, you're up next. What's going on, sir?
Okay, appreciate your program. Hope you had a good vacation.
I did. Thank you so much, Art.
Very good. I got a 2000 Buick with 150,000 miles. Actually, it's only 147. It has an engine light came on.
Okay.
It isn't flashing. It's on steady all the time.
Okay.
And I took it into the dealer. They diagnosed it as being mass airflow sensor being sending the code P0102.
Okay.
Also, transmission setting a code at 1811. Okay, so they're recommending mass airflow sensor at $526, and a rebuilt transmission at $3,396.
Okay.
Well, that's a whole lot more than the car's worth, so I gotta have a second opinion for it.
Besides the check engine light, what's the car actually doing?
Nothing.
Runs okay, drives okay?
I don't feel anything. The transmission is running fine. And I asked them that very same question. I said, what happens if I just continue to drive it? And they said, well, it'll deteriorate. And I don't know exactly what they meant by that. I guess the transmission would deteriorate. The mass air section, if it's already bad, it can't do anything more, I wouldn't think. Anyway, I just need a...
You need a second opinion. That's what you need.
That's what you need, yeah.
Not our second opinion on air, but a second opinion of somebody that actually can diagnose the vehicle and look at it, drive it, and determine what's going on. It could be that, if it has a mass airflow sensor, a code, it could be that the sensor needs cleaned. It could be that it needs replaced. Until somebody does some further diagnostics, it's hard to say. And as far as the transmission goes, that's one of those where you're in Westminster, you're not far from Larry and Jeff at Larry's Automotive and Transmission. I would, before I did anything, I would run it over there, have Jeff do some diagnostics on the transmission, even outside of the mass airflow sensor. Have them do some diagnostics on the transmission, see what it's doing, see what life is left there before you spend any money on the car. I would go that route first.
Okay.
Okay? I'll tell you what I'm going to do, Art, to help you out. I'm going to put you on hold. Larry, who is actually from Larry's Automotive and Transmission, already screened the call. He'll pick your phone call up. He can tell you exactly how to get a hold of him, what their schedule's like this next week, and we'll get you taken care of. But get a second opinion from them on how that works, and then get back to us. Greg, you are next on Drive Radio. What's going on, sir?
Hi, John and Dennis. How are you guys today?
Thank you. Good.
You've been on so long, and I've been listening so long that now I've got a second generation of listeners.
Right on. Thank you.
Going. And
I don't know if that's good or bad. That means I'm old.
Well, yeah, I think we're all showing gray hair somewhere, aren't we?
Yeah, I got a lot every day. It seems like I got a little more. So yeah, I can relate. Yes.
My son Weston was the one that sent the email at the beginning of the show.
Got it. Okay, perfect.
He moved out the last couple of days of December and got this alternator, like you said, out of a CarQuest in Hayes, Kansas.
Okay.
He and I were thinking along the lines of the belt and the tensioner, but I think it was Dennis said something about a diode.
Could be.
Yeah.
Now that something like that would put out a audible whine or sound.
Yes.
It can, because it's not fully energized. I want to call it. I guess I'm trying to think of the word, but if it's not, if it's going weak, they'll do that. And they used to do it a lot years ago. We used to hear a lot about diodes having problems like that, and it would almost make a buzzing.
You just hear that the alternator is making noise, is what he's trying to say.
Yeah. That's right.
You're talking alternator.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So here's a question for you. Have you had the hood open and have somebody actually listen to it when you shut it off to see if you can pinpoint where it's coming from?
No, apparently this just started a week or so ago. He's in Greenville, South Carolina, and I'm in Denver, but he's listening to you now on the computer. So,
well, Weston, thank you first of all, thanks for listening. Here, what I would do, and Weston, if you're listening, is do this. Have somebody, friend, whoever, sit inside the car and shut it off while you're out under the hood. And you can do that 2 or 3 times, shut it off and see if you can pinpoint where the noise is coming from. You'll know pretty quick if it's coming out of the alternator, because that's a pretty distinct noise. And then if it's not, you'll pretty much know if it's an alternator or a belt or a tensioner.
And if you have a long screwdriver, that you can actually just kind of touch the alternator too, and be careful where you're putting it, because you don't want to short yourself out. You don't want to get shocked. You're not going to get shocked, but you don't want to put it by the belt or something. Just put it on there and listen for it.
It's basically like a magnifying phone.
And you put your ear to that and you'll hear it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, keep your hair in your clothing.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
If you have a tie on, it's going to be bad news. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he actually got a job with Ford out there in Greenville.
Okay, perfect.
He works for the corporate people at Ford. And
right on.
I know he's got this itch to replace his vehicle, but he's got a really clean, efficient Grand Cherokee, and he takes care of it. And Steve and John over at Geno's have been taking care of it for quite a while.
Awesome. Well, Weston, if you're listening, take your dad's advice. Whenever you buy a car, it's going to cost you more money. So if you can start packing some money away and even save up to where you can pay cash on your employee discount through Ford, that'd be the best way to do that. So I'd keep driving that car and pack the cash away.
Yeah.
Well, I hear you. And I think he's 168, maybe 170,000 on it now. And I drive cars for 300.
It'll go that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it will. Just the way he's been taking care of it. But 1,500 miles away, I can't. I don't have enough ratchet extensions to take care of his problem out there.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, you've done a good job so far, it sounds like. And Weston, sounds like you've got a great job. Best of luck to both of you guys. Anything you need, Weston, same with you. Feel free to email us, call us, whatever you need to do. We'll take care of you however we can, even long distance.
I got a question. You guys have, relationships with people across the country?
We do in some cases. I don't have them in every single state and city across the country, but there's a lot of folks that we do know, and we typically can find somebody close to you that can take care of you. Yes.
Well, I'll leave that up to him then, because I'm just here in the Mile High City.
So. Yeah, we can help you out with that. Just let us, Weston, if you need something along those lines, send me an email. I'll try to take care of you.
Okay. Well, thanks for the help.
You're very welcome, Greg. Thank you very much. Best of luck to you, Weston. That is pretty cool, guys.
Yeah, it is.
We take first generation, second generation, and away we go. That means we've been doing this too long.
Don't look at me. Look at them.
They're the young ones, right?
Yeah.
We've been doing this a really long time. Actually, even on air, we've been doing this, 20 years on air. It's a long time. So yeah, some of those folks that were, case in point, my 23-year-old, he'll be 24 here pretty quick. He used to come to the station with me and just kind of sit, kind of in the corner because he was so small that he wouldn't hardly sit up in the chair, enough to. So he'd come down and color, do whatever he was doing, and handle things. And he used to think that was really cool to come with Dad, and not so much anymore. Although this Friday, I've got him agreed to come on this Friday. He's a big sports buff, so he and one of our other guys, a good friend of his, they're going to come on Friday at 4, and we're going to talk a little Super Bowl. Because I'm not a big sports guy. I mean, I know enough about it to kind of brush up on it, but he's a buff, a sports buff. So we're gonna have a little sports talk on Rush to Reason on Friday. It'll be kind of fun. So you see how that works? You raise them up in the studio, and pretty soon they'll maybe be on air at some point. Yeah. So, ladies, there you go. All right, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll come right back. We'll finish out this first hour. We'll continue to talk to the ladies and see exactly what's going on at Community Auto up in Fort Collins. But I would encourage you, if you're up in the north end, up in the north end of the state. Not necessarily town, but the state, because it is about a 60-minute drive or so. How long did it take you guys to get down here today?
1 hour.
1 hour? So that's in the south end of town. So really from the north end, you're half hour, 40 minutes at the most. It's not that big of a deal to get up to see you guys. So if you're in that neck of the woods and you need anything at all, again, Community Auto, they're up on the south end of Fort Collins. Real easy to find. Go to drive-radio.com. You can see their link there. Click on it, and all their information you'll find right on their website. So let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back. Drive Radio, John Rush, KLZ 560.
Your car has up to 24 different onboard computers, making repairs more complicated than ever. Without the right tools, some of these repairs are nearly impossible. Once again, Extreme Auto Repair in Parker has gone to the extreme for you. Extreme owner Dennis Brewster invested in the very same scanning tools that dealerships use. This is important because by using these specialized scan tools, they can directly connect your car's computer system to the actual manufacturer for instant diagnostics. Manufacturer specs and all of the up-to-date, detailed repair information your technician needs to properly fix your car. Best of all, they are faster and always cheaper than the dealerships. Extreme Auto Repair, the most technologically advanced car care center in Douglas County. Tell them to listen to KLZ and they'll take 20% off your bill. Call 303-841-1071, 303-841-1071. Extreme Auto Repair in Parker, going to the extreme for you.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield.
Hey, John. I don't know if you know, but Scott's not going to be here today. He pre-recorded.
Okay. Or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Flat Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism on our drive-align belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff.
With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak,
feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors. At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
All right, Rush Drive Radio, KLG 560. Dennis Brewster from Extreme Automotive is with us, and Stacia and Emily from Community Auto up in Fort Collins also with us. Lines open, by the way, 303-477-5600. Call us. We'll get you right on air. Anything you want to talk about, that's what we're here for. All right, let's do this real quick. We'll switch around some of our topics a tad here because I want to talk about the racing side of the fence, but we can get to that here in just a minute. Let's talk about, because we had somebody that called in a moment ago even that this fit right into, the value of fixing an older car doesn't necessarily equate to the value of the car itself if you were going to go sell the car, correct?
Right.
In other words, sometimes you're going to put more money into the car than the car may actually be worth if you were to just turn around and go sell the car.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how do you determine when it's okay to do that? That's a question, I guess, a lot of people even listening are asking themselves is, well, I hate to put too much, you just heard it a moment ago. I hate to put too much money into a car when it's really not worth that much, but I don't know that you can always look at it that way. Am I saying that right, guys?
Yeah.
Correct. You have to take the utility value in effect as well.
Okay. So explain that for those listening.
So the you can't really put a money okay. So you gotta take the utility value in consideration, which you can't really put a monetary value on.
Okay.
So you got to think about, well, I'm using it.
Right, you're using it, and what would it cost to replace that car? That's the other thing that typically you have to look at. So say, for example, we're actually talking real dollars. Let's say you've got a car that maybe on the open market's worth $5,000. Okay, let's just throw a number out. We'll start at a nice, because let's face it, it's tough to find good used cars for less than $5,000. They're there, but they're really hard. You guys do the inspections. You know what I'm talking about. Right. We just talked about a 2010 Rogue that was $10,000, $11,000. So you kind of know where prices are. It's hard to find something for $5,000 or less. So let's say that's kind of the mark. Well, let's say a transmission goes bad. Okay, well, we already know in most cases, not all cars, but in most cars, that's probably $4,000 of the $5,000 value that car has. But Stacia, to your point, you really can't look at it that way, because to replace that car, you're going to at least spend another $5,000 plus you don't know what you're buying. Mm-hmm. So that in some cases you have to look at the whole picture to realize, wait a minute, time out. Yeah, I may put $4,000 into the car that I own. It's a car that maybe is only worth $4,000 to $5,000, but I know the history of the car. I know all the maintenance. I know what's been done to it. I've owned it the past 10 years or whatever the magic number is. So for me to go out and replace that car, I might actually spend more money than putting, let's say it needed an engine. Let's use that example now. Let's say it's $6,000. Now you've exceeded that that $5,000 car by $1,000. To your point, you've got a value in the rest of the car that you have to look at, a utility value, to say, wait a minute, time out. What's this car worth to me?
Yeah, do you like that car?
Not to everybody else. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And plus, the history of that car. I've done the brakes not about a year ago. I did all the maintenance on it, and I know what good condition it's in, but yeah, it has a tranny right now.
Right.
Okay, well, if you go to put you have to put that tranny in to get any value out of that car.
Otherwise, it's worth nothing.
Right, it's worth zero. Yeah. So you have to put that tranny in, and then what are you going to go buy? If you go buy, like you say, you go buy a used car, okay, it might be running good today, but it might be having a problem with it. I have a lady that, really dear lady that we just worked on her Jeep Liberty, and she bought it. It's an 04. Okay. It's got 72,000 miles on it.
Okay.
The differential went out and the transfer case.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's expensive.
Yeah. Well, she was like, well, should I even do anything with it? But I have $5,000 owed on it. I'm like, well,
You have a choice.
to.
You have no choice.
You
at
have
that point.
to.
That's right.
Yeah, and even if she didn't know anything on it, it's not worth anything to do. I mean, it's a low mileage
You
car.
fix the car.
You fix the car.
That's exactly
yeah.
right. All right, we'll come back to that in a moment. Don't go anywhere because keep those thoughts going, guys, because that's a big topic. Because a lot of people go through that thought process almost every time they get their car fixed, because they start to get to a point where it's like, wait a minute, am I going to put any more money into this or not? Randy, you're up next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, I got a question for you guys, and I want to know if I'm just imagining things or if there's actually anything to this, because we've always been told ever since the gas crunch in the 70s, slow down to 55, you get better mileage and stuff. Okay. Well, I'm driving this little 07 Suzuki SX4 now, and I swear that I get better mileage if I stay right between 68 and 70 miles an hour, because I've got a little miles per gallon readout on the dash there, And it seems like the engine is just in a sweet spot where it's just running more efficiently. Is there anything to that, or is it just imagination?
No, you're right. In a lot of cases, and it depends on the vehicle, I kind of reckon it to, or liken it, I should say, to a boat. When you get a boat planed out on the water and you just kind of find that sweet spot where it just seems to be, everything's running well, the water's just right, it's going around the boat just like it needs to. You just find that little sweet spot. The same is true with every vehicle, and it's a little bit different for each vehicle because of the way they're shaped, the aerodynamics, the engine, the drivetrain, how it's geared. But there is a sweet spot in every vehicle where you'll find this is where the best fuel economy is, and it's not always the same for every vehicle. Now, it's typically true that if you drive slower, you're going to get better economy, but I think in your case, you really have to look at, or in everybody else's case too, you look at what's your vehicle, where is its sweet spot, and that's where you try to drive.
And when you're saying drive slower, it's you don't accelerate hard from a stop sign. You don't, floor it every time you're trying to get up to speed, but you just take it easy and go. And it doesn't mean how fast you're going. It means where the engine's RPMs are and where that sweet
Where's
spot
that sweet spot? That's right.
Well, supposedly that was the whole reason between, for lowering the speed limits way back when to 55.
That's what Jimmy Carter thought, yes.
Yeah, that didn't work.
That didn't work out so well, but anyways.
But 2,600 RPM, 68 to 70 miles an hour. That's what it goes for me.
And you know what? And again, every vehicle is going to be a little different. I've driven some vehicles, for example, where 65 might be the sweet spot. I've driven some where 75 is the sweet spot. It just depends on the vehicle, and a lot of it has to do with the engine, the transmission, the drive line, how it's geared, the aerodynamics. Lots of things come into play when you talk about finding that sweet spot.
Okay, well, I just wanted to know if there's any factual basis to that.
There is a lot. In fact, here's the other thing you'll notice, and this is just a little tip to the rest of you out there listening. Typically, when you find that sweet spot, it's also the quietest on the interior when you're driving in that sweet spot, because the airflow is working real well, everything's going around the car just right, and typically you'll find it's a little less noisy on the inside of the cabin as it would be in some of the other speed.
You don't have any resonating noises.
That's exactly right. You just feel like you're kind of in this nice, quiet, sweet zone, I want to call it, and right there you're going to get the best economy.
Yeah, it does ride. It does ride the best.
There you go.
Right at that speed. So, okay.
There you have it. You're very welcome, Randy. Appreciate the phone call. It's a great question, by the way. Mike and Elizabeth, you're next.
Hey, I have a question. My wife has a 2008 Ford Expedition EL, and the passenger rear, I noticed, was really low one day.
Okay.
So I thought I had a broken coil spring. So I ordered new struts with the springs, and then realized a couple days later when she went out to start it that it came back up. So apparently there must be an air suspension in there.
A lot of those have air suspension. Depends on the options that it had on it, but it could very well have air suspension, yes.
This was probably 3 weeks ago. Now I noticed that it does deflate and reinflate, and I can hear the compressor run sometimes.
There you go. Go ahead.
Would you recommend putting in coil springs or
you will not be able to change what's there from the factory now. The way that suspension is set up now is what you're going to have to stay with.
But what happens with some of those lines is especially if you live on Elizabeth, if you live on dirt or anything, they get plugged up. They get plugged up, and so you got to kind of clean that. And there's a little vacuum pump, and you got to look at that too, the lines and everything else. It could have moisture in it.
It could also have a slight leak in one of the. Basically, it's an airbag type suspension, is what it is. It could have an actual leak inside of one of the bags. It's one of those things where if you continue to see it going vacillating as far as where the ride height is, you need to have somebody look at it that can actually inspect that. And you're in Elizabeth, which means you're close to Extreme and Parker. Have those guys check it out for you.
Perfect. Thank you, guys.
You're very welcome, Mike. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, he's out in your neck of the woods there, Dennis.
Yep.
Probably a neighbor.
Yeah, it could be. But we deal with a lot of those, and a lot of the times it's just the dirt and the moisture that's in them that causes the problem.
Yeah, those, and let me tell you what, they've made significant, even in 08 to today, we've made significant technological advances when it comes to air suspension.
Right.
It was decent then, but it's much better today than it was even in 08.
Right. Do you guys get a lot of, in Fort Collins, do you get a lot of people that are outside the city that come in, that live in the country and live on dirt roads and things?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And so you deal with the same things that we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know you did in Boulder too.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, it's a factor. And what you want to make sure that you do on those air suspension vehicles, by the way, is keep them maintained, keep them up. And if you think you're going to have the vehicle for a long time, buy a set of airbags now.
Yeah.
I mean that sincerely. Put them away, because you know what? 5 years from now, you might not be able to buy them. And I'm dead serious in that, because air suspension, one of those things where all of a sudden a light switch will turn on and you'll no longer find parts for that vehicle. So if you think you're going to keep the vehicle for a length of time, go ahead and buy some extra parts for it and have them on hand if you're going to keep that car long term. All right, let's do this. First hour Drive Radio is over. Second hour is on the way. We're going to take a real quick timeout for some news and some updates, and then we'll be back right here on Drive Radio. I'm your host, John Rush, with Dennis Brewster from Extreme Auto Repair, and Stacia and Emily from Community Auto up in Fort Collins. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Hour number 2 coming up next right here on KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for their highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
On the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis, we'll take an in-depth look at the current cultural and political trends from a paleo-conservative point of view, with such notable guests as Professor Paul Gottfried, John Haskins, Professor Stephen Baskerville, and Gerald Salente. All that and your phone calls, too, beginning at 6 a.m. on the next Wake Up with Steve Curtis.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at KLZ560radio.com.
KLZ 560, a Crawford Broadcasting God and Country station.
USA Radio News with Joe Gomez.
They clearly want to rip away the progress we've made at the federal and the state level.
Hillary Clinton says the economy does better when a Democrat is in the White House. Speaking at a campaign event in Dubuque, Iowa, Clinton says Republicans want to destroy all the progress that has been made in the past 8 years. The former Secretary of State said the last 2 Democratic presidents inherited massive economic problems from Republican administrations. Republican presidential candidate Chris Christie, meanwhile, wasting no time attacking Hillary Clinton over the latest chapter in her email scandal. Hours after the State Department announced the 22 emails that included top-secret information won't be released, Christie unveiled an attack ad against Clinton.
Now, didn't she look us in the eye and tell us that there was not a bit of classified information on her personal server? She has now definitively lied to us.
This is USA Radio News.
There are times being a genius would really come in handy.
As your doctor, I'm going to give it to you straight. You have a severe case of gustatory hyperplasia aneurysis, and you need to choose between a cystoplastic bone tape treatment or orthostatic muscle surgery. We'll give you a second to think it over, but we'll need an answer right away. It's bad.
But thankfully, you don't need to be a genius to do your own taxes, because TurboTax's Smart Look feature gives you on-screen assistance to help answer your questions so you're never on your own. Intuit TurboTax.
Texas done smarter. Feature availability varies by product and platform.
As an entrepreneur, you're always on the go. So turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Make and receive business calls using our iPhone and Android apps. Get a new business number or keep your current one. Forward your calls to any phone and even get your voicemails transcribed. Join over 250,000 small businesses who stay connected with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
KLZ Denver.
John Rush during the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a full barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
Watch this.
The Chevy didn't make a 327 to 55. The 327 didn't come out to 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with a 4-barrel carb until 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And it is Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560. And hopefully you're preparing today for the weather event we have coming up over the weekend. Not to hype the thing up, but everything that we're getting information on, even myself as a plow company, all the information I'm getting, we're going to have a significant snowstorm. It will start tonight, head into tomorrow, and not get out of here until Tuesday. And you can expect anywhere from 12 to 18 inches when it's all said and done.
Yeah, we get it from the counties.
Yeah, so it's coming.
Yeah.
Now, a moment ago, and the ladies are witness to this. Dennis said I had no life.
No, did I?
I think he did. I heard Dennis say he's got no life. I'm like, yeah, I know, I don't. You're right. I have no life.
It wasn't you. It was somebody else. Don't take it out of
I
context.
think what he really meant was he's always here. He has no life. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, you're kind of right about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spend a lot of time behind this little black thing in front of me.
Yeah, you do. And I listen to you all week long.
I appreciate that very much. And thanks to all of you that do listen during the week. We appreciate it very much. Not just myself, but all of us at KLZ. We really do appreciate it. But hey, let's get on to the show today. Go ahead.
Well, I appreciate it that you have that way to vent and to speak, because you used to do it on the Drive Radio side here.
I don't anymore.
And they'd get on a tangent and we'd have to stop them.
No, they don't.
We'd have to, hold on, John, you're going the wrong way.
That's right. Don't have to anymore.
Yeah.
Good point.
Yeah.
All right. So I left off the last hour. And by the way, lines are open, 303-477-5600. Give us a call. We'll get you right on air. But we talked in the last hour and sort of left off with, when is it okay to replace the vehicle because it's getting too expensive to repair. So we never really got to that point. We talked about the utility value of the vehicle and the fact that you can't just look at, okay, I'm going to put this much money into the vehicle. It exceeds its value. Wow, I should stop. That's not always the right answer. So, Dennis, ladies, how do you actually consult, a customer when you start to get to the point where maybe that car is getting to the point where it's starting to, just get to the point where it's nickel and diming a customer to where it's just not worth it anymore. At what point does it get when you start telling somebody, we should probably start looking for something else for you?
Well, first of all, I like what Emily said. She said that, do you like the car?
Mm-hmm.
Those are to me decisions you need to make, because if you're real comfortable with that car and you like it, why get rid of it?
Okay.
And how much does it, maybe not on the like a personal, like, I can't get rid of this car because it remembered this happened or this and that. But just if it's a comfortable car for you and it does everything you need, why do you need to go out shopping for something else?
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing I have to say before you get into that side of it. But,
okay. It makes sense. So a lot of it will come down to, do you like the vehicle? Another thing that I would recommend that people look at, and I don't know if you guys do this in the shops, but one of the things I used to do was, who's coming up in the family that may need a car? In other words, children, cousins, grandparents, parents. I mean, is there somebody where there's going to be some shifting around of automobiles in the family itself? And is the car you're driving, even though it's starting to nickel and dime you, if you put a little bit of money into it and the mileage starts to drop on how much it gets driven, would it make a good car for, say, your teenage driver?
Right.
Those are things only that person can answer, correct? guys, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you have to look at the big picture, and a lot of times it is our job in the industry to get you to slow down enough to say, wait a minute, time out. I know you want to do something else with the car, but let's look at all the facts first. Let's determine what's going on in your life and how else will things work in, because sometimes the car you're driving might make the best first kid's car your kid could ever drive.
Right. And then, like the first question you ask, on the other hand, when does a car need to be replaced?
Okay, hold that thought.
Yeah.
Let's get to that in just a minute. John in Littleton, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Hey, a couple things. One, I heard there's a BG product, can't remember the name of it, that might help like clean out your engine. They said you're supposed to put it in and let it run for 10 minutes and then drain it and change the oil, and it might help with oil consumption.
Yes, there is. You ladies know the name of that by chance?
Can you tell what experience you've had with that?
Personally, none. Chris from BG, we're actually trying to get on air with us either next week or the week after. But I do know that they make. I'm trying to look it up online real quick. So as I'm talking, I'm trying to do two things at once here, which is not always the easiest thing to do. But yes, they do make a product that does that.
Are you trying to clean out the engine?
It's called Quick
fuel?
Clean.
Yeah, the fuel or the engine itself?
The engine.
Yeah,
I believe that the car has got some really bad oil.
Got it. Yeah, the BG. It's called BG Quick Clean for engines. It's part number 105.
Okay.
And it does exactly what you just mentioned.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, not going to hurt anything.
Yep. You put it in and you run your engine for about 10 minutes and then you drain it.
Yep. 10 to 15 minutes is what it says right here.
Yep.
Okay. And it's called what again?
It's called BG Quick Clean for engines. It's part number specifically 105.
Great. Okay, I'll write that down.
All right.
Hey, the other question I had is I'm in the market for a used Tahoe. I know they changed their model in like 2007, 2008.
Yes.
And that's kind of the area I'm looking in, like 2007 I think it's maybe a 13 or so.
Yeah, don't buy an 07. Don't buy an 07 or an 08. Those are the first model years they had, and they did have their share of problems getting some of the corks worked out when they did the complete change of that vehicle. I would look at probably a 2009 or a 2010 or newer.
Okay. Anything to look for specifically? Do they have any quirks?
Nope. No, it's a good vehicle. Great vehicle, actually.
And what kind of mileage should I stay away from or only get up to?
Doesn't matter. They'll run 300,000. So now that doesn't mean at 150 you may not have to do some transmission work or something along those lines, like we mentioned earlier. But if you buy the car right and you factor some of that in, big deal. Do it. Who cares?
Okay. So look for a 10 and up then.
I would do 10 and up. And the only reason I say that is because the 07 and 8s, they did have their share of, especially some electrical issues. They had some battery cable, some real hard issues in some areas, and it was a big, huge change for GM. It was the first year they ever did a independent coilover type front suspension. They got away from their torsion bar suspension. It was a big, major change for GM. And not saying you should not buy the first year model of something, but I tend to be one of those guys that doesn't like buying the first year model of anything. I'd let it get the bugs worked out by a second or third year of it.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You bet, John. Thank you very much. Let's go to Dave, who is next in Thornton. Dave, you're up next. What's going on, sir?
Hey guys, I'm looking to replace some suspension parts in my truck, and I've got a 02 GMC 3/4 ton, and I'm online ordering parts, and I noticed as I was going out there at the sun.
Why are you doing that?
I got a lift put on it. Not a lift, a leveling kit.
Okay. What are you trying to buy? Let's start there. What are you buying for the truck?
I was just going to buy the Pitman on the idle arm because the place I took it to said, "Hey, you need to replace these things."
But buy the heaviest duty part that Napa offers. Don't buy the stuff online.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that just because Napa's a sponsor. I'm saying that because I did 30 years in that business. I know very well that vehicle and what you're doing, and the best parts you can buy is on Napa's shelf right now.
Okay. So the other question I have then is, then I guess it doesn't really matter then, because that's what I was looking at was doing it online. Was what they're asking me is, is it a 3-groove or a 4-groove? And how do I tell that without taking it off?
Yeah, and you won't know that without taking it off. But in this case, that part will be stocked at your local Napa store. You could pull it off, take it in, and actually match it up right there at the counter, which makes it really, really easy. Plus, your warranty is better doing that.
Okay, good job.
So what leveling kit did you do on it, Dave, if I can also ask?
It's just the little torsion keys.
So you just did the keyway in. Okay, yeah, the keys are fine. Yeah. It'll raise it up a couple of inches. Now, keep this in mind. You will wear out ball joints faster from this point forward.
Yeah, I had all that replaced and everything else.
Yeah. And did they do the heaviest duty ball joints they could buy, I hope?
I wasn't real happy with the work they did, but it looked. I asked for the heavier A-arms and everything else. It didn't look like the four-wheel drive parts, but it looked like something straight out of a parts catalog.
Okay. Just make sure they're good quality, because that is an area, because you're putting a different angle on them than what it came with from the factory. You will wear out the ball joints faster.
Yeah, and I would assume that this place would know better. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. I took a chance. You know. Yeah,
and unless it's a real solid, off-road shop that understands that vehicle and some of the things that I'm mentioning to you, they may act like they know, but unless they've been through it, time and time again, they really don't know it. Sorry.
Yeah, it's four-wheel parts.
Yeah, they don't know it, unfortunately. They, and I'm not bad mouthing them, but what I'm going to tell you is they should know. They should know, but they don't, because they don't pay their guys enough to know. And I'm being very serious there. It's a company that I dealt with for years and years and years. And I'm just telling you, their model is such that the guys in the shop and on the counter, they do not pay a lot of money to. They will not have the same knowledge that some of your other high-end four-wheel drive stores in town will have. That's not a knock against them. It's just a fact.
No, and I'm not going to disagree with you. When I went to go pick my truck up afterwards, and that's when it, all of a sudden was like, well, you need this for another $1,000. I'm like, come on, man, it's a Pitman model. Right. I'll charge me $1,000 to replace it.
Right.
I'm like, no, we're not going to do that. I have that feeling right then.
Not to throw them under the bus, but they don't have the same guys working that you're going to find at our Colorado Select facilities or some of the other top-notch four-wheel drive stores in town.
Yeah. And so the stabilizer arm that they were supposed to replace, they didn't. I had to take it back a second time and say, hey, man, what happened here? Why didn't you put the parts that I paid for?
I can tell you, we could run the rest of the show, and I'm not exaggerating here. I could run the rest of the show telling you all of the vehicles over the years I fixed that those guys screwed up, and I am being 100% honest there.
And unfortunately, man, it's going to be a hard lesson I'm probably going to learn. But separate question. Got a friend who's got, along the same lines of when you should get rid of a vehicle. He's got an early 90s Mitsubishi Montero.
Okay.
Hasn't run for 10 years. His main reason for holding on to it, number one, it's paid for. And number two, it's some kind of deluxe model, leather seats, 2 sets of keys or something. I'm not sure. And so that's how he puts it. So I said, and he's asking, well, do you know any place that would rebuild that engine, because he knows it needs to be rebuilt? And I said, well, number one, even is it worth it? So that would be my question. That one is going to be really expensive to go through, and he better really, really love that vehicle, because that is a situation where he will definitely, factually way exceed the value of the vehicle. Doesn't mean that it's not something he'd want to do. I mean, it goes back to, if it's a vehicle he really loves, he wants to keep it long term, he wants to have it around the family forever, great, put an engine in it, but it is going to be expensive.
And plus, sitting around for a long time, you can have other problems, right? You can have rotting fuel lines you could have. You can have a transmission problem now because it's just been sitting.
But if he loves the vehicle, fix it. Go for it. That's his call.
Yeah.
Well, and finding someone that'll want to work on it, being 1980, a lot of repair shops don't work on that old
90 Mitsubishis. Yeah. Good point, Stacia.
And that's kind of what I was telling him, was it's sitting around. It's not just a matter of rebuilding the engine. You're going to have to do a whole lot of other
That's exactly right.
Just because it's been sitting there.
Very true.
Good luck.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.
You're very welcome. Thanks so much. All right, Bill and Bailey, hang tight. We'll get your question answered in just 1 second. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Life has consequences, and a consequence of a poorly maintained fleet of work vehicles is the unfortunate timing of a breakdown. Your customers are counting on you, and one breakdown could be a deal breaker for the customer your driver was trying to reach. Maybe that customer has clients of his own who are demanding an explanation, and so on.
How long do you expect to be in business when your customers think you are unreliable? Your solution? Tilden Total Car Care. Using state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet, Tilden can actually anticipate maintenance items before they become major repairs or ultimately breakdowns. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden Total Car Care today and ask about their fleet maintenance program. Call 303-797-7977. 303-797-7977. Tilden Total Car Care, helping as many people as they can, as fast as they can. Federal in Bellevue and Inglewood, and 6th and Peoria in Aurora.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you've tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. 303-422-1065.
I want my mileage back. Here's some inside information to get your gas mileage back. Inside your engine, carbon builds up, clogging the injectors and combustion area. If you want your fuel system cleaned in just one tank of fuel, use what the inside car guys use most. It's called BG44K. In fact, service managers use it almost 3-to-1 over any other fuel system cleaner. To find a shop with BG products, go to bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. BG.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Especially important this time of year is to change your windshield wipers. Since the rule of thumb is to swap them out every 6 months, consider blades now and summer blades in the spring. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, providing exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
You think I'm back?
We are back.
We're supposed to be back?
We're
I'm answering an email. Come on, don't bother me.
Yeah. John's answering new emails. Well, this is Dennis. We're back at Drive Radio. We have 2 lines open, 303-477-5600. How's that?
That's good. Thank you. That allows me to answer some emails from listeners. So
I've had some practice
that
this
helps out
last
a lot.
couple of weeks.
No, that's fine. That works out perfect. You're free to email us while we're on air. You can always do that. Just you can directly do it at john, at drive-radio.com, or go right to the website, drive-radio.com, click on the contact us, fill out the form, and it still goes right to me, and we can answer those questions as we speak, which I just did.
Right, and we do have a caller, but before you answer that, you made a really good point, and we should probably talk about it someday, is about the quality of technicians that you hire.
Yeah.
Right? Because we were talking during the break.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be such a big jerk against Full Wheel Parts. I just know the quality of work that comes out of there because of the people that they're hiring.
And see, that's what you need to look at when you're looking at a shop. What kind of technicians do you have? We have ASE qualified technicians, and you know what? People go, some technicians
not even just ASE qualified, Dennis. ASE qualified with years of experience that can actually fix cars.
Right. That is one issue of it, but the other issue is how good of a technician they are. And how
the reason I just said that is, and you know as well as I, there's guys out there that can pass a test, but can't fix a car.
Right.
Okay. So just because they have a piece of paper that says I'm ASE certified doesn't mean they can fix your car. Likewise, there are some really, really great techs, and I know ASE isn't going to like me saying this, but I will. There's some really, really great technicians out there that might have a really hard time passing tests, that might not be ASE certified in every single area, but might actually be able to fix a car better than the guy that has the piece of paper.
Right.
That's a fact.
No, that is a fact. And it doesn't mean, like when you skip the piece of paper and the certification, you still have to have a good technician.
And those are
a good heart.
Yes. And you need those, but I'm not ditzing, the ASE certs or anything like that at all. Believe me, I'm not. What I'm saying is the fact of the matter is there are guys out there that have some of those pieces of paper that still are not very good technicians. There's some really, really great old technicians probably running around that would have a hard time passing some of those tests that are still great technicians. Just make sure whoever's fixing your vehicle, number one, the shop that they're in it's a good, solid shop, run efficiently, and they're paying their people well. That has a lot to do with the quality of work coming out the back.
Right. And just like what they were saying, Stacia and Emily were saying that their technicians, they've had some technicians for 10 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
And my point with Dave a little earlier here was I can almost guarantee you that's not the case at the place he took his vehicle to. And I just know for a fact over all of the years that I owned a 4-wheel drive store, or 2 of them, I should say, and I competed with that particular brand of facility we just talked about a minute ago, how many vehicles, especially when it came to front end work, I fixed because they weren't done correctly on the front side.
And when you were talking about that, the first thing that came to mind was I have a technician, Nate, and we work on a company's bunch of fleets that they have plows with, and they're having a problem with this one plow. This one company their guy kept putting this one part on. And Nate says, you know what? I want a part, but don't give me this part. I want this heavy duty part to put on it because it's got a plow on it and you've got to take that into consideration.
Right.
So give me the right part.
Right.
And I like that in my techs when they do that.
You're not going to find that everywhere. No. That's a great point. Let's go to Bill, who's up next. Bill, welcome. What's going on, sir?
Oh, you were touching on a subject that's kind of near and dear to my heart right now.
Let's hear it.
I've got an 03 Jetta TDI.
Okay.
It's got 461,000 miles on it. And it's still giving me 46, 47 miles per gallon of fuel.
Awesome.
But it's starting to blow some smoke in the morning when I'm starting it up, and I'm wondering about, heads or rings. And, so the synchros are starting to go in the transmission, and it's going through wheel bearings like there's no tomorrow. And I think people aren't just putting those in right. Aren't torquing them down properly.
Could be. You're also at an age where everything on the vehicle's now got the 461,000 miles. So that means everything that bearing is even attaching to has that many miles. Hey, here's a recommendation I would have to you, and this is going to sound funny to a lot of people. Right now, there's a lot of people driving Volkswagen TDIs that are mad, they're upset, they want to sue Volkswagen. There's class action lawsuits being started. And here's what I'm telling you right now: if I were a Volkswagen lover, it would be a fantastic time to buy a newer model TDI, and I wouldn't even fix it if Volkswagen offered, because it'll get better fuel economy, pass all of the Colorado state emissions right now the way it sits. I wouldn't touch it, and I'd go buy one, the cheapest one you could find, and replace yours now.
Well, that's certainly a thought.
Because they're cheaper now. Yeah. You will not buy one down the road cheaper than you are right now in this particular time, Bill. Yours running still has some value to it. If you keep driving it to where it flat won't run anymore, you'll get nothing out of your vehicle. You're at a great time to sell yours now and go buy a newer model TDI.
Alrighty. Well, I appreciate the input. Because like I said, it's one of those things. I love that ALH motor.
Yep.
I don't think Volkswagen's ever put out a better one.
Agreed.
It just is like, car payment versus repair bills, car payment versus repair bills.
Yeah, and this is a unique situation where you've got a small window of opportunity to buy some TDIs at a lesser price, knowing that at some point Volkswagen will offer to fix those. Those of you that are driving them, I wouldn't personally, just because I think they're a better car now than they will be once they get their emission fixes done. I don't, I'm not going to get into all the politics of what they did, right, wrong, or otherwise. I'm just giving you the brass tacks of if you really like that TDI, buy one now. I would not fix it when Volkswagen offers to, especially if you're going to drive the thing until it doesn't run anymore, just like you did the last one. And I'd save some money and do it right now.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Appreciate you putting your thoughts in.
All right, Bill. Appreciate it very much. Thanks so much for the phone call. And yeah, those of you that are out there that really love Volkswagen diesels, I did this during the weekday show, Rush to Reason. I won't get into it right now because I did a big, huge, long dissertation of how much pollution they're actually putting out in regards to what the EPA required and so on. And what I'm here to tell you is it's minuscule. I did a show where I proved that one lightning strike produces enough NOx that you could take your TDI and drive it coast to coast. I can't remember how many times over and not equal one lightning strike. So when it's all said and done, not a big issue. Get in your TDI and drive it and have fun.
Right.
Bottom line. Now, how they did all of it, did they cheat? Did they do some things they shouldn't have? Absolutely they did. But does that affect you as a driver? I don't believe it does. Just keep driving your car and enjoy it. Maureen, you're next. What's going on?
Did you say Maureen?
I did say Maureen. Welcome. How are you?
I'm fine, thanks. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for calling us, Maureen.
You're welcome. Be kind to me, but tell me the truth. I just bought a new 2016 Fit, and I'm wondering have I violated the rule of thumb of buying in the first...
No, good car. You bought a really good car. That Fit. I test drove actually last year. Did a full week test drive in that car. Great vehicle, all Honda, of course, which is just fantastic on quality. It's a great versatile vehicle. No, you didn't do anything wrong buying that car at all.
Thank you. I will throw this in that this car cost less than the 1999 Honda Accord wagon. $2,000 less.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, they just got their efficiencies so well. The Fit is sort of their economy intro car, if you would. They're hoping somebody will buy a Fit and then move up the line and end up buying a Civic and then an Accord and maybe even end up in an Acura when it's all said and done. So it's sort of the way for them to get people into the Honda line. It's a great vehicle. You didn't go wrong at all, Maureen, buying it. In fact, congratulations. You bought a great car.
I'd like to say that an employee that was standing around while I was going through all this, she said that she has a 1974 Civic, first one they built.
Wow.
And she said it's still going. I said, where do you get parts? Do you have to go to the aftermarket? She said, no, I keep it going. I don't know how she does it. She's pleased as can be with it.
They're great cars. You will not have a problem with that car at all. They're fantastic.
Thank you.
Congratulations,
very much, John.
Maureen. You did a good job.
Thank you.
You are very welcome. Maureen's a great daytime listener. So, Maureen, thank you for calling in and listening to us on the weekend also. Let's do this. We'll take a quick time out. We'll do a few little commercials that actually do pay the bills. That's what makes things happen around here so we can stay on air. So we'll, and I should say this, those folks that are advertising with us, and we have a lot of them, from shops to vet clinics. I'll tell you, Lone Tree Vet did a great job on my dog. We had her ACL fixed and just fantastic. Every single sponsor that we have of Drive Radio, I personally know. I vetted them out. They're fantastic individuals. You will not get taken advantage of, and I mean that sincerely. Use each and every one of them and tell them you hear them on Drive Radio, and believe me, they're the ones that make this show happen every single solid week. Don't thank me. Don't thank Dennis. Actually, do thank Dennis because he's one of those guys I'm talking about. Thank those sponsors that are making this happen on a daily basis because they're the ones that really make this work. So we'll be right back. Don't go away. Drive Radio coming back right here on KLZ 560.
Today's cars and trucks are very complicated and can be expensive to repair. At Arvada West Auto and Truck, we can help you to understand the complex nature of repairs. We specialize in computer repairs. Maybe you've tried another shop and you still have the same problem. Let our highly experienced technicians at Arvada West Auto help you. Call 303-422-1065 or stop by and see us at Arvada West Auto and Truck, 11752 West 64th Avenue in West Arvada, or visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com. 303-422-1065.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at genosautoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
John Rush here. I want to talk to you again about your pets. And pets are very much a part of our family. It's one of the things that we talk about a lot amongst ourselves. There's very few pet owners I've ever met where the person hates the pet. Because typically, if that's the case, you don't own one. If you own a pet, they're a part of the family, right? It doesn't really matter whether it's large animals, small animal, cats, dogs, birds, you name it. They're a part of the family, right, guys?
Oh, absolutely. Our Tucker, our little Shih Tzu, he's with us everywhere.
Okay, so in your case, Dan, that's a dog. I mean, I've got a yellow lab, doesn't require a lot of grooming. I mean, you can wash them and do those sorts of things, but yours actually needs some grooming from time to time, correct?
Oh, yes, and the Shih Tzu has to have the proper Shih Tzu cut.
Okay, guess what? Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center will do just that. They've got a full grooming department. Actually, I've been in the center, and the cool part about this is a 2-level veterinarian clinic. So you walk in on the main level, you can drop off your little Fido, whatever your animal's name is. And the cool thing about it too, this is something just as a side note. Most of the time when you walk in and you're trying to fill out paperwork, typically you've got a leash and it's on your arm and you're trying to fight the dog or whatever you have with as far as a pet goes. You're doing all that while you're filling out the paperwork, right, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, guess what these guys thought of? There's little hooks on the wall. So when you walk into the counter and you actually start filling out all the paperwork, you can actually put the leash on the hook and you're set and you can actually stop and fill out paperwork. Amazing.
That's actually thinking of the customer first.
Thank you. That's exactly what they do at Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center. The phone number 303-708-8050. Dr. Bill and Nancy Moyle are the owners there. They're great long-term supporters of Drive Radio, and I would encourage you, please support them. Take your pets there. You will not find a better experience at 8681 East Lincoln Avenue in Lone Tree. The web address, LoneTreeVet.com.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Dennis Brewster in studio with us, along with the ladies from Community Auto up in Fort Collins, Stacia and Emily. Thank you both for joining us. So let's go back real quick before we take some calls. By the way, lines are open. Call us. We'll get you right on air, 303-477-5600. So you heard me a moment ago tell Bill, who's driving an 03 Volkswagen TDI, 461,000. Now, when it gets into the 400 plus range of mileage, it gets to become a little bit easier decision on what to do with the vehicle at that point, right, guys?
Yeah.
Because you know you're getting to the end of the life of that vehicle because it's not, will it go 500? Maybe, but it's going to get to the point to where, you're going to start checking off all the things that need to be replaced on the car because at that point in time, most everything's starting to get pretty well worn out.
Yep.
Now, if a car's got 150, totally different ballgame. In fact, those of you out there listening that used to, the old days, you drove a car to 100K, it was worn out. In fact, you didn't want to buy a car with 100,000 miles because they were flat worn out. In fact, the reality is a lot of dealerships got in trouble in a lot of those years because they'd roll back speedometers on a really clean car because they didn't want it to show 100,000 miles, and all those games were played back then. Here's the reality of today. Dealers don't have to do that anymore. Why? They can't. It's illegal. You can't do it with the electronic odometers. But here's the reality of it. You don't need to because the cars, in a lot of cases, just broke in at 100K. I'm being serious in it. They're not worn out at 100K.
Right.
Right, guys?
Nope. Right.
It's not uncommon to see a car go 300,000 miles. So those of you driving cars that are, 100, 150,000, you're thinking, should I fix it? Should I not? Those decisions become a lot easier because the car still has a lot of life left in it.
It's when it gets to the 300,000 miles that's where you got to start really thinking about
300, 400.
Yeah.
This one, 461. Bill, man, you got a lot of life out of that car. Congratulations, by the way. That car owes you nothing.
Right.
But you can sell that car for about $1,500 or $1,000 to someone else, like a teenager that needs a car.
And if they get a year or two out of it, great.
And they probably would.
And they've got their life out of it. And at that point, the car's going to be done. It'll go to the crusher at that point.
Right. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, we had Mike on the phone. Larry's screening up another mic. So the original Mike that called in, call us back. We'll get you right on the horn, 477-5600. What were you going to say?
Well, we bought one of our customers had a Chrysler 300 and the transmission went out and it was about 250,000 miles. Well, he didn't want it no more. And he goes, do you guys want this thing? And he gave it to us basically. And so we put a transmission in it because now I got the car for free. So now is
it a loaner car?
Yeah, it was a loaner car. It went 5 years right now. And now we're going to be taking it out. We got a Buick 2004.
So you put
Buick.
a transmission in that car, drove it 5 years, did it as a loaner car.
It has like 350,000 miles on it right now.
Great.
And one of my technicians wants to buy it. I'm going to sell it to him for $1,000. You know.
So everybody won.
Yeah.
He won.
And
You won.
it's still a good car. We just want to upgrade.
Fantastic. Mike and Aurora, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Yeah, I have the 09 Ford F3 6.4 diesel, and I removed the DPF and CAT delete system off of it and put the stock system back on and detuned it back to stock with an HS tuner. And as I was going over to the emissions station to get emissions, I lost, it just started gradually losing power, and I did not see the pressure gauge off the turbo to see what was going on.
Okay.
And right now, I got it milked into a parking lot, but right now it'll start and run for about 5 seconds and shut off. It will restart, but shuts right back down.
Okay, so you basically so you took all the DPF, all of the emissions devices off, and yet put them back on so you can go get your emissions, and this is when this problem occurred?
Yes.
Got it. Any check? I didn't hear it. Is there a check engine light on?
No, there's no check engine light. And the only code I had on there was a P006B, which is a pressure sensing code, I believe.
Okay. I don't remember on those as far as the DPF. Do you have to do anything engine-wise, or is all that exhaust-driven?
That's all exhaust-driven.
But you put the stock program back in it to actually make all of the devices now work, correct?
Yes, yes.
How much have you driven it since you did all of that?
I was just going over the emission station. It was about 4 miles. Yeah, it's.
My gut feeling is there's something, and I could be totally wrong in this, but my gut feeling is there's something wrong in the factory programming with all the DPF that's back installed. There's something there that's not communicating, not talking correctly, and it's saying, wait a minute, time out. The emission stuff's not working right. I'm shutting down. That's my thought.
Okay.
Without getting a Ford OEM scan tool on that and really dialing that truck in, it's going to be hard to know.
Okay. Do you know of a good diesel shop?
Yes.
Right here in the southeast Aurora area?
Yes. Extreme Auto Repair. Dennis, give him your address.
Yeah, it's 10274 South Dransfeld Road.
Okay.
Dennis can tow it for you too if need be.
Yeah, because I have a tow service, and also we have the Ford scanner, so we can hook it up. And I'm wondering if did you reprogram it when you did this?
Yes, it had a 120-pound boost program in it. I have an HMS. The guy I bought the truck from had an HMS tuner on it.
Got it.
And I reprogrammed everything back to stock. I did it twice.
Okay.
And I thought that was an issue as well. Maybe the first time it didn't load properly.
And it still could be the issue.
Yeah.
It still could be. And that's where you really have to get a factory scan tool on it to determine that.
I got a good Ford tech, so you know that.
Yeah, you need to get somebody that understands that 6.4 and get it looked at. So, I tell you what, best thing to do on this, let's do this. Mike, I'm going to put you on hold for just a minute. Dennis can pop into the other room and get all your info, see if we need to get you towed or what we need to do that way. We can help you out that way. So, Dennis, why don't you go grab him in the other room on 2, and we'll do that. Terry, you're up next. What's going on, sir? Hello, Terry.
Hello. Yeah, my daughter has an 08 Escalade, all-wheel drive.
Okay.
And the driver's side motor mounts failed, which I think is fairly common on these. The service manual talks about removing the exhaust manifold, the catalytic converters, the spark plugs, the heat shields for access. And I wondered if you all have any experience with doing this easier.
I don't believe there's any easier way to do it, no. Stacey's shaking her head no, so that typically means no.
It's a long, hard job.
It's a process because of, and you know from just looking down inside of the engine compartment how tight they've got everything on that. And the difference between the Escalade and some of the other models in those years is that's got the bigger engine. They did some differences with the exhaust. It's got higher horsepower. And because of all of that, it just makes things even tighter when it comes to putting that motor mount in.
Yeah, this is the 6.2 with the 6-speed transmission.
Correct.
But it's similar to the Yukons and the Tahoes and all those others.
Yeah, but the exhaust is not the same. That's part of the other problem you're running into, is the exhaust is different.
It's one big Y pipe with both converters.
Correct.
All connected together.
Correct. Yeah, I don't know. So are you getting prices on fixing it at this point, or what are you?
Well, the dealer quoted around $500.
Take it over to Keeters at off of Valmont, 63rd and Valmont, and have Brent or Scooter in there give you a price on doing it. I guarantee you they're going to be less than the dealer, and they may have a trick up their sleeve to actually get that done a little bit faster. But take that into Keeters and have them look at it for you.
Rather than do it on jack stands in the garage?
You got it. Nothing worse than that.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're very welcome, Terry. Appreciate it very much. Yeah, Keeters up in Boulder. That is our Boulder facility. They'll be more than happy to take care of you. Call Brent on the phone or Scooter up there, Terry, and they'll take care of you. You can find all of our locations at drive-radio.com or type in coloradoselect.com and it'll take you right to that page. You can find a location near you. All right, let's do this. We got calls coming in. A couple lines open, 303-477-5600. We'll take a quick timeout. We're going to be right back right here on Drive Radio. John Rush, your host, KLZ 560.
Hello, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with Ken's and Leslie Distributing, your local BG products distributor, back again this week with your BG Tech Tip. Did you know that for the last 17 years running, the number one reason for a service call to AAA in the United States has been for a jump start due to a dead battery? As our temperatures continue to fall heading into the winter, it is imperative that your battery has the best possible connection to your vehicle's charging system. Corrosion or failed connectors can cause early failure of the battery or prevent the battery from properly charging and powering the vehicle's electrical system. To keep your battery from leaving you hanging, ensure that every 2 to 3 months you inspect the terminals and connectors for corrosion and keep the connectors clean using an anti-corrosive pad and sealant to ensure maximum connectivity. These steps will ensure that you are collecting all of those cold cranking amps on those cold starting Colorado mornings. Thanks again, Drive Radio listeners. This is Chris Hammond with BG Products. We look forward to talking to you again next week.
Hunting down that hard-to-find part for an out-of-the-ordinary car can be quite a time-consuming chore. Unless, of course, you just go around the corner to your local Napa Auto Parts store, where we have over 310,000 parts, all of them made to fit and perform just like the original. Yeah, there are people who say it's the journey and not the destination, but those people have never tried to find an alternator for an 82 Fiat on a Saturday. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Wheel alignment can affect tire wear and fuel mileage that will cost you more for repairs and fuel. Aletta West uses state-of-the-art 3D imaging to align all 4 wheels of your vehicle. Be aware that irregular tire wear could also cause the need for additional alignment parts. Stop in or call us for our alignment special. Mention this ad and we'll inspect your vehicle and check your alignment starting at $69.95. Call Aletta West Auto at 303-422-1065. Stop by 11752 West 64th Avenue or visit us on the web at ArvadaWestAutoandTruck.com.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors. At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
I want my mileage back. Here's the inside information to get your gas mileage back. Inside your engine, carbon builds up, clogging the injectors and combustion area. If you want your fuel system cleaned in just one tank of fuel, guess what the inside car guys use most? It's called BG44K. In fact, service managers use it almost 3-to-1 over any other fuel system cleaner. To find a shop with BG products, go to BGFindAShop.com. That's BGFindAShop.com. BG.
John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Dennis Brewster from Extreme Auto Repair is with us, and Stacia and Emily Warrington. I should say Stacia Hamp and Emily Warrington. Make sure I get both those correct. Even though you're sisters, different last names, that's understandable. So, Community Auto up in Fort Collins. Appreciate them joining us today. And through the break, we were talking a little bit about the diesel and emissions. And our last caller, the reality on that mic, on that 6.4, here's another suggestion. Put the emissions devices back on it and leave them there.
Yeah.
I'm being honest.
Right.
And I probably should say that publicly because that's what the EPA requires. In fact, if they find out you're tampering with it,
fines.
Even as a homeowner, those of you listening, it used to be that only shops would get fined if they tampered with emissions. Not the case anymore. If they find out that even you, as just Joe homeowner, Joe driver, tampered with emissions, you can be in the same problem, the same trouble that a shop can be. And the fines and the penalties are huge. And let me tell you what, if you think for a second they're not going to come after you, think again. They will. And in some cases, they may use you as an example. So I would put the stuff back on and leave it if it were me. Janice is up next in Denver. Janice, welcome.
Hi, good morning, guys. I have a question. I've got a 1993 Lexus ES300. It sat in the garage for a very long time, and it only had, at the time I bought it, about 50,000 miles on it. I put about another 51,000 miles on it, so it's got about 105,000 on it now. The transmission is out, and also the radiator leaks. Is that kind of a odd thing to happen for the transmission to go out at
Yes.
a low mileage?
Yes.
I'm
Was it serviced at all during that 100,000 miles, or do you know?
Some little things like oil change and stuff like that, tires.
But the transmission itself didn't have any services, fluids flushed, anything like that? Okay. That would explain some of it. Had that been done, it probably wouldn't be out at 100,000. But yeah, it's uncommon for those to go bad at 100,000.
What year is it?
90.
90?
It's a 93.
Oh, sorry, 93.
You said it's been sitting a while, right?
And it was sitting a while in a garage, and I actually bought it at a pretty good price, but I really didn't think I'd have this much trouble with it. It's such a great car. It's got a V6 engine, and
Janice, real quick, what's the transmission doing right now? What makes you think it's out?
Well, I've had it checked by 2 shops, and it's whining, and it seems to still have a lot of pickup, but it's making a whining noise, and the OD light comes on and off, flashes on and off. Overdrive.
And what are they telling you? So they're basically saying the transmission itself is shot, or they're saying, is there any repairs, or have they said?
No, they've said taking it to a specialized transmission shop and also to a Toyota shop, and they said it's definitely the transmission. That's all they've said. And then, of course, the radiator has a leak.
Okay. We need to get you a second opinion on that, which you're in Denver. You're close to Larry's over in Westminster, Larry's Automotive and Transmission. Let's have you take the vehicle over there, get it inspected. Jeff can take a drive in it, put some scan tools on it, figure out exactly what's going on. The radiator is the simplest part of that. So let's look at that secondary. First thing to figure out is what's going on with the transmission. So...
And the problem is that's a 1993, and you guys were just mentioning it. Stacia was mentioning it. Those older cars, it takes a certain technician to know them. And even though the technology wasn't there, supposedly, they're a little bit different bird to work on.
That's exactly right.
They should be able to hook up a gauge to that thing and tell you, is it the second gear problem? Is it a
Jeff
pump?
can do that.
Is it a solenoid making problems? Right. What is it? They should be able to be specific with that.
A little bit more specific.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do, Janice, I'm going to put you on hold. Larry will jump back on the phone. He's one of the owners there. He can help you with what to do, what their schedule is like, when to bring it in, what they can do for you, and so on. So I'm going to put you back on hold. Larry will pick that up, and get her taken care of. But to your point, Dennis, Jeff can go through and look at the transmission and get some really good details as to what's going on.
And the thing about Jeff is he will tell you it's okay. It's in second gear, it's third gear,
it's whatever.
And I remember working on transmissions because when you worked on Nissans at the manufacturer at the dealership, at least I did back in the day. You had to tell we had to tell exactly what it was.
Couldn't you say transmission's bad?
No, and I do that with my guys now. You tell me what is it?
That's right.
What is it that's wrong with the transmission? Don't just tell me transmission's bad or the engine's bad, because that doesn't give the customer any information.
Bill, you're next. What's going on, sir?
Yes, hi. I have an 89 Toyota Corolla, and it's got 300,000 miles on it, and it's gotten used a fair amount of oil. It has plenty of power and everything, and it runs great. But if I put it calls for 10W30 weight oil, if I put in a heavier oil, like a 10W40 or 15W40 in the summer, do you think that would cut down on the consumption?
How much oil is it using?
Oh, maybe a quart in 400 miles, 300 miles, depends. If you're going up a hill into the mountains, it uses it quick.
That's quite a bit. I think I would rather than changing the weight and the viscosity of the oil itself, I'd rather see you use a BG product and see if that does any good rather than actually changing, the oil out is what I would rather see you do.
Okay, is that one of these ones like the
RF7 oil treatment? Use the RF-7 oil treatment. It's part number 107 and see if that does anything.
You might have to do it a couple of times because one time isn't going to be done, fixed. You're going to have to do it maybe 3-4 times.
And see if it does anything.
Yeah.
That's right.
Right, okay, it's RF what?
RF-7, so RF7, it's part number 107.
Okay, very good then. What do you just put it in and run it for a while?
Yeah, what you'll do is, what you should do is put new oil in it. So put new oil, new filter, put that treatment in it, run it and see what happens.
How long do you run it?
Just through an oil change.
Oh, you leave it in.
Yeah, leave it. Yeah, don't take it out. You're going to leave it in.
Product that y'all individually store or something. Then
yeah, I wouldn't do that. The BG product is going to be a better product. Use it.
Okay.
I'm not telling you that just because they're one of our sponsors. It's good, solid product. They've done their research on it. Use it.
Okay, we'll try that. I'll let you know how it works.
Okay, Bill.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Appreciate it very much. Let's go to Patrick here before the top of the hour. Patrick, welcome.
Thank you, John.
Go ahead, Patrick.
I got a 2004 Honda Odyssey, and one of the sensors for the ATS and the TCS has gone out. I have no way of. I'm trying to find a shop that would, kind of do that for me, kind of inexpensively, I guess.
As far as the fix goes, or the diagnosis, or both?
The diagnosis and then the fix. Obviously, if I take it to the dealer, they're wanting just $100 to put it on the list.
Right. Yeah. Well, they're going to scan it and charge you $100. And the reality is, you're probably going to find most anybody out there that's going to diagnose it properly doing the same thing, because there's no way to know exactly what to replace and fix without going through proper diagnostics.
Okay.
And that's an important statement what he just made, because you might find someone who says, well, I'm going to waive that fee for you, but are they going to really give it to a highly qualified technician who's going to want money to look at your car? And he's got a lot of information to give you if he hooks up a scan to it and diagnoses it properly.
In a shop that says they'll just include that in the price is just jacking up the price on the repair so they can cover the cost of their diagnosis. That's how the system works. A good technician, to Dennis's point, is going to want to get paid for the diagnostics because he's going to spend time. And just like a doctor or anybody else, you and your job, you don't work for free, neither do they.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, Patrick, appreciate it very much. That's a hard concept, I know, for some to get over, especially in the auto industry, because for years and years and years, you'd roll it in the service station. Old Joe would rock out from behind the counter. He'd jump out there. He'd inspect something, look at a fan belt, look at this, look at that, and off you went. Well, today's cars aren't the same. The ability to walk out, in this case, on an 04 Odyssey and say, Patrick, you need this, this, and this. You can't get that information without going through some real step-by-step diagnostics. That takes time and money to make happen.
And if a technician knows he's getting paid, he's going to spend the time on the car.
Correct.
He's going to go, well, at least I know I'm getting paid. This customer's invested in the car. Right. I can get my money back.
That's exactly right. Craig and Erie, you're next.
How you doing, guys?
Good. What can we do for you, Craig?
I've got a question for you on a 2014 Dodge Journey. It's actually a vehicle I'm looking at purchasing.
Okay.
It's used. It's got 20,000 miles on it. and I don't know much about them. Are they a decent vehicle, or engine transmission stable? Are they going to run 200,000 miles?
They will run 200,000 miles. Starts getting above that, they start to get a little bit dicey because they're not a vehicle that were really meant to run, 300,000 miles plus. But can you get 200,000 out of it? Absolutely. Is it a good car? Depends on how well it's cared for.
Okay. They got only 20,000 miles on it now, so still got
on it. Yes, it should still be in good shape as far as that goes. I would still get a pre-purchased on it, even though it's under warranty. Just have somebody look at it to make sure it hasn't been in a flood or an accident or things along those lines. Check a Carfax on it. That'll show some of those things also. It doesn't always show everything, especially on the accident side, but it will show the majority of things. The biggest thing on these cars now that you want to make sure of is it hasn't come out of any of these flood areas. We've had tons of flooding across the country the last several years, even this year. You want to make sure that car wasn't in a flood, sent here through an auction, and now somebody's trying to pawn it off here in Colorado.
Okay, that's a good point, because I hadn't thought about that, and yeah, you're right, there's a lot of them been underwater lately.
There's a ton of them that have been underwater, and I mean, even just a little bit of water can cause problems on down the road.
Okay, so this has got the all-wheel drivetrain in it.
It's a good system. It's a Jeep. It's still a good system. Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so it's a Jeep type product.
Yep, sure is.
3.5, 3.6 V6.
Mm-hmm. It's very similar drivetrain to what you'll find in like the Jeep, not Liberty. What's the other one they replaced the Liberty with? The Compass. Some of those types of units are very similar.
Okay.
Okay.
So, is that engine? Is it a solid engine?
Yeah, good engine. Yeah, you won't have any problem there. It's a good engine.
Okay.
It's a good vehicle. I mean, our Alan Stefan, who comes on a regular basis, that works for Gates, that's our Gates rep. He drives one as a company car and loves the vehicle. And this is the second one he's had, and it works fantastic for him. He thinks they're great.
All right. Well, I thought it was a Jeep because I looked at it once.
Yep.
I haven't driven it yet. I just looked at it. When I jumped on the driver's seat, and I went, this thing's a Jeep.
That's very similar to a Jeep. Yep, very much so. Eric, with that, I apologize. I got to run. We're at a hard break here at the top of the hour. Thanks so much for calling in. Barry in Arvada, hang tight. You got an oil change question. 2 lines open, 303-477-5600. Hour number 3 of Drive Radio is coming up next. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I'm your host, John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments, download previous programs, and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
John Rush here on the next Rush to Reason. A father took his daughter's cell phone. You'll never imagine what happened next. We'll have traffic and weather updates with Dan Muir, and of course, we want you to be a part of our show, so we'll take all of your calls. It's Denver's Afternoon Rush, Rush to Reason, every weekday from 3 to 7 p.m. right here on KLZ 560.
Freedom, liberty, truth. KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver.
Listen live at KLZ560radio.com.
KLZ 560. USA Radio News with Melody Burkett.
President Obama is using his weekly radio address to push computer literacy in public schools. The president announced a new plan called Computer Science for All, aimed at making American students computer literate.
And right now, only a quarter of our K through 12 schools offer computer science. 22 states don't even allow it to count toward a diploma.
Obama says his first step in the new plan is to ask Congress to provide funding over the next 3 years for computer science in public schools. Coming up, we'll hear from the Republicans. Hillary Clinton's campaign says it's unhappy with the withholding of several of her emails from when she was Secretary of State. A spokesman for the State Department says her emails will not be publicly released because they contain top secret information. A message from the Clinton camp says Clinton wants those emails released, calling the situation, quote, overclassification run amok. This is USA Radio News.
As an entrepreneur, you're always on the go. So turn your mobile phone into a business phone system with Grasshopper, the entrepreneur's phone system. Make and receive business calls using our iPhone and Android apps. Get a new business number or keep your current one. Forward your calls to any phone and even get your voicemails transcribed. Join over 250,000 small businesses who stay connected with Grasshopper. See how it works at grasshopper.com, the entrepreneur's phone system.
There are times being a genius would really come in handy. As your financial advisor, I require a small 12% commission in addition to a 3% subcommission on every financial transaction and a 9% commissionary commission on top of the honorarium. It's like a commission, but thankfully, you don't need to be a genius to do your own taxes. Because with TurboTax Absolute Zero, you can file your simple tax return for free. There are no hidden costs. It's simple, and it's absolutely free. Intuit TurboTax. Taxes done smarter. For simple U.S. returns only. Offer may end without notice. See offer details at turbotax.com.
KLZ Denver. John Rush started the afternoon rush, weekdays from 3 to 6 on KLZ 560.
Being an expert on general automotive knowledge, what would the correct ignition timing be on a 1955 Bel Air Chevrolet with a 327 cubic inch engine and a full barrel carburetor?
It is a trick question.
What's this?
The Chevy didn't make a 327 in 55. The 327 didn't come out till 62. And it wasn't offered in the Bel Air with the 4-barrel carb till 64. However, in 1964, the correct ignition timing will be 4 degrees before top dead center.
Get ready for another hour of Drive Radio, brought to you by Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. Got a question for the experts? Then give them a call, 303-477-5600. Now it's time to pop the hood and get our hands dirty. Drive Radio on KLZ 560 The Source.
And it is Drive Radio. John Rush, host. Good afternoon, everyone. We just switched over to the afternoon, so we hope everybody's having a great day. Preparing for the winter storm that is, honestly, somewhere bearing down upon us.
And you can't take these lightly. You got to prepare for them. At least we do.
Whether it comes or not, you got to be ready, because about the time you don't, it will be. And this one looks like it's developing and will actually turn out to be what they say. So get yourself ready. Enjoy today, because tomorrow it will not be the same as today. So let's do this. Barry is up next. He waited on over the break for us. Barry, welcome. What can we do for you, sir?
Thank you for taking my phone call this afternoon.
Thank you, Barry.
I just purchased a new Duramax 1 ton, and on the inside of the windshield, the dealer had placed a sticker that recommended that they change the oil at 1,000 miles. In talking with the dealer, come to find out, they want to do a complete engine flush to get out any of the new engine grime and grit, I guess.
Not needed.
The cost
they said
was $200.
Not needed. I have 4 of those trucks. I haven't done any of them that way. They're all running strong. I run them all on the first oil change. I don't run them the full length of a regular oil change. I run them to about 5,000 miles, change them, and then after that I do the normal schedule. But I wouldn't change it to 1,000 miles. In fact, you really want to leave the brake-in oil that's in the vehicle in it for some length of time, and I wouldn't pull it out at 1,000 miles.
Okay. All right.
That's an upsell to try to get you in so they can spend some money, or so you can spend some money. I would not do that.
All right, that's what I wanted to know. Yeah, I'd never heard of it before, and I thought, well, this is just a dealer invite, so they can increase their cash flow.
That's exactly what it is, Barry. You're a smart man.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Appreciate that very much. Yep. And again, not ditsing anybody, but Barry's a smart man. He already had that one figured out. That's exactly what they're doing. It's an upsell process, and gets him back in the door, and they're trying to make sure that trench, starts to get built so he doesn't go anywhere else.
Right. I had a customer that had a dealer did an oil change and threw the stuff in and then told them they had to pay for it, and did an oil and an air filter and charged them labor to put the air filter in, and didn't give them the option.
Shouldn't work that way. There's some things we're going to talk about here in just a minute when it comes to myths. Real quick though, before I do that, Sportsman of Colorado coming on right after we get off air today at 1:00, and today it is fishing to pheasant hunting to mountain lion hunting in Colorado. And I told everyone earlier that something about the mountain lion hunting and things that hunt back, that'd be it. Let's just say it'd be different. Let's just say that. Would I do it? I'm a pretty adventurous guy, maybe, but I typically don't like to hunt things that hunt back. But at any rate, Sportsman Colorado coming on at 1 o'clock. Scott Watley and the crew will be there, so don't go anywhere at 1 o'clock. Just keep the dial tuned right where it is right now. Al in Denver, you are next.
Hi, this is Al. Thanks. I'm a big fan of your car show and the political show later.
Thank you.
So I have a puzzle here. It's a 93 Ford Explorer that was my son's, and he gave it to a daughter. It's always run fine. He's done a lot of work on it. At some point in the last 6 months or so, the idle started going up and down erratically and surging at stoplights. And I swear, I'm a pretty good amateur mechanic myself, so I replaced the intake air control valve, the TPS, throttle position sensor, a bunch of other stuff. Then I gave up. I took it to a mechanic that's recommended by friends. That's he's a professional. He's helped them out. He changed the coil pack, changed it back because it didn't do any good. He actually gave up, and like as you said earlier, he has to make money too. So it was like $200 or whatever I paid him. Then I took it to an even more renowned expert in Lakewood, and that guy replaced a leaky air intake plenum. Had a leak in it, and he checked with his electrical equipment, the sensors and all scanners and all that. He said everything I replaced is fine. The only thing it could be is the timing chain has stretched, and it's a big job. You might want to have somebody do it. So, of course, I'm pretty handy. I changed the timing chain. It's cheap on the Explorer and all that sort of everything's fine. It's still doing that idle thing. I'm really frustrated. It's going up and down. I got a fuel pump gauge, a fuel gauge, pressure gauge. I mounted it, taped it to the hood, and drove down the block, and it's rock solid, right within spec.
Okay.
Pressure. So I don't think it's a fuel pump.
So I think I missed out. Did you put a timing chain in it or not?
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Sprockets and chain, brand new from Rock.
And that didn't help, did it?
No, it's just bizarre. But to have two experts tell me, they just can't figure it out. I'm ready to pay somebody $300 to fix it, not to guess, just to make it idle again. And I thought, well, I've been replaced catalytic converters. This doesn't act like a clogged catalytic converter either. Because that affects you at a little higher speed than idle. But and whatever you think, what should I do next?
Some of the basics, and this is some of the things I would start with, and I'm not sure anybody has done this or not. But if it were me, the first thing I would do is a compression test to make sure that all cylinders are even and you don't have a cylinder that's down on compression that's trying to be compensated by all of the other, the other cylinders that are there. So first thing I would do, if it were me personally, if I was a technician working on it, I'd want to make sure my baselines are good. So I want to make sure it's got good vacuum, good compression. If it doesn't, then I would start looking at, okay, why doesn't it have good compression? I'd want to look at spark plugs. Are they all firing correctly? What do they look like as far as how they're burning? I'd get my baseline of that done first. Then I'd start looking at some of this other stuff.
And that's sometimes what technicians miss is they have to go back to basics. And you need your three basics. You need air, fuel, and spark.
For example, a compression test would have given you an indication of whether or not it needed a timing chain or not.
Right. And
I just trusted these guys to have done the basics like that, but maybe not. Maybe they didn't.
Well, a lot of guys, to Dennis's point, and Stacia can even chime in on this, but a lot of technicians, as good as they are, a lot of times they will forget the fundamentals. It's like, okay, we're going to watch a really big football game here in about a week. Okay, a week from tomorrow. And that entire game, this week, trust me in this entire week, those coaches are doing nothing but driving the fundamentals of the game into these guys' heads every single solid day, because that's what'll win the game next week. Not all the pizzazz, not all the fancy schmancy stuff, but the fundamentals of the game is what's going to win that game next weekend. The same is true when it comes to fixing your car. All this other peripheral things, it's great. We've got fuel injection, we have electronic timing, we have coil, we have a distributorless, not what I'm talking about. Vehicles without a distributor is what I'm trying to say. Ignitions. And yet we forget sometimes as technicians that, wait a minute, I've got to have air, I've got to have compression, I've got to have good fuel delivery. The other things to look on that vehicle that can sometimes cause that, believe it or not, there's this little device that we use. It's actually a big device, but it's called a motor vac. And it's a decarboning device that we actually hook up to the engine, and we run a solution through it that actually decarbons the inside of the engine. I have seen surging in engines fixed with doing nothing more than decarboning the inside of the engine.
And see, that's a really vehicle that would work on really good.
Oh, yeah?
So again, there's a lot of things going on there that really, first things first, I would do a compression test on it before I did anything else.
Right on. Okay, and is it decarboning? Is that an expensive thing, or is it
about It's about $300. So back to your, hey, pay $300 to get this fixed. Well, a decarboning would be about $300. I wouldn't do that right off the bat without doing some other tests first. But it could be something as simple as that.
But see, on yours, it doesn't have, like, you can't hook up a scanner to it like you can today.
No.
That car is more like you have to kind of know, a technician needs to know that car.
Very well. If you need somebody that understands a 93 Ford extremely well, because to Dennis's point, you don't just hook up a scanner and read the numbers and say, well, it's this, or this. No, in some cases, it's hooking up a lab scope to an individual item, reading what the lab scope says, then knowing what to do next.
Yeah, because there's OBD1, I think.
Correct. That's exactly right. Now, what I will tell you is, in your area, Al, the best guy that we've got Fords in that area of town, and this isn't going to upset even Larry, who's over here, because you're going to drive by Larry to do this, but Dorsey Johnson at Arvada West, when it comes to fixing that older Ford, and Larry's in here shaking his head up and down, yes, so he knows what I'm saying. Really? You go to Arvada West and talk to Dorsey, he'll be able to diagnose that for you.
Is that the name of the garage, too?
Arvada West, Truck and Auto.
Oh, Arvada West. Okay. Arvada West. Okay, great.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
They're on the website, drive-radio.com. Just take it over to Dorsey. He'll get it diagnosed for you.
Yep.
You bet. Thanks
a lot. Al. Appreciate it very much. Let's get one more in here before we take our break. Don in Littleton, you're next.
Hey, hi, John.
Hey, Don. What's up, man?
Dennis.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. How about you guys?
Doing great.
Doing good.
I bet you're glad you're back from your vacation.
I am glad to be back.
John?
Yeah, glad to be back, and now it's going to snow. That's okay. Pays the bills.
All right. Me, I hear you. I had something interesting happen I thought you guys might want to know about.
Let's hear it.
Well, I had an aluminum wheel that I had a flat tire, and I took the wheel off. It's aluminum, and I took it into a tire shop to have the flat fixed, and the guys banged the wheel up pretty good. And I was pretty unhappy about that and complained to the boss, and he said, we deal with a company called Alloy Wheel Repair Specialist. It's a mobile service that comes right to you.
Yep.
And he said that shouldn't have happened, and it's our fault, and we'll take care of it. And anyway, this guy came and had a slick trailer behind his truck. It was all set up just to repair and to repaint wheels.
That's right.
And I'll tell you what, John, he fixed that thing up in he did the prep work in about a half hour, and the painting another 20 minutes or a half hour. And I'll tell you what, that wheel looks brand spanking new.
He does a good job. I know the company you're talking about, and they do a great job.
Yeah, he would be a great sponsor.
He really would. You just gave me an idea. I tell you what, Don, if you would for me, since I don't have his direct contact, if you would send me some info directly, you know how to get a hold of me. Send that to me. Yeah. I'll reach out and make a contact and see if I can put that together. You're right. He would make a great partner with us.
He's a heck of a neat guy and really had a slick setup.
Yeah, no, I've seen his stuff. I've seen his work. He does a great job. You're right. He would do very well with us.
And guys need that sort of stuff.
They do.
Again,
You're right. No, that would be great. That would go right along with our audience. That'd be perfect. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
In fact, the tire shop offered to buy me a new wheel, but wheels change like women's fashions.
Yes,
every
they do.
year it's a whole new ball game. And of course, that wheel's 9 years old. There's no way they're gonna still have that same wheel.
No, getting that refurbished. And the other thing that does is it opens up a market for guys that maybe want an older looking wheel on a vehicle. A lot of times, just because the car changes, the wheel pattern, the bolt pattern is the same. So go find a used set of wheels and have them refurbished. They look like brand new, and off you go.
Oh, I hear you. And I'll tell you what, it's high quality stuff too. Clear coat and the whole works, and it is really nice.
He does a good job. No, Don, send me that info. I'd really appreciate that. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll do that, John. Hey, may I ask a question on my Jeep?
You sure can.
I got a crank for it from up in Fort Collins, 4x4 salvage yard.
Okay.
And I've cleaned it up as best I can with solvent and wire brushes and steel wool. Is there any way I can really get all the grit out of that wheel? I run wire brushes through the drilled holes and all. But how can I really clean that crank up good before I take it in and have it turned?
Put it in a dishwasher. We have industrial dishwashers in most of the shops where you basically put it in there and it's hot water with some detergent in it that cleans them up really, really well. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, Larry and Jeff up at Larry's Automotive take care of that.
Jeff, Larry's shaking his head. Yes, bring it over there and he'll do that for you.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if that's what the preferred method for
That's
a crankshaft.
the preferred way to do it.
All right, I hear you. Hey, nice to hear from you,
Thanks,
John.
Don. Appreciate it. Likewise. Really appreciate
always
you.
A pleasure.
Likewise. Send that to me. I really appreciate it. Eric, hang tight. We'll get your Nissan question answered in just 1 second. I've also got an email question we need to take care of. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. We'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
At Napa Auto Parts, we've been the most trusted name in auto parts for over 80 years. Probably because we've never stopped looking for ways to make the great parts we sell even better. It's a commitment to quality you'll find in every one of our 310,000 parts. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters, to the patented damping mechanism in our driver-line belt tensioners, to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And Napa parts are covered by a warranty that's good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores nationwide. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but at Napa, we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. To find the Napa Auto Parts store nearest you, go to NapaOnline.com. Napa, get the good stuff. With over 125 locations in Colorado, southern Wyoming, and western Nebraska, there's only one place to get the good stuff. Napa Auto Parts.
Geno's with a J is your go-to auto service shop in Littleton for all your car care needs. Needing an oil change? Take advantage of Geno's premium $29.95 oil change and receive a free set of windshield wipers with the mention of this ad. See store for details. Brakes, alignments, or car maintenance. Geno's does it all. In business over 32 years, Geno's offers courtesy vehicles while your car is being serviced. They are conveniently located at Bowles and Platte Canyon in Littleton. Visit them online at GenosAutoservice.com. That's Geno's with a J.
Life has consequences, and a consequence of a poorly maintained fleet of work vehicles is the unfortunate timing of a breakdown. Your customers are counting on you, and one breakdown could be a deal breaker for the customer your driver was trying to reach. Maybe that customer has clients of his own who are demanding an explanation, and so on. How long do you expect to be in business when your customers think you are unreliable? Your solution? Tilden Total Car Care. Using state-of-the-art software to monitor each vehicle in your fleet, Tilden can actually anticipate maintenance items before they become major repairs or ultimately breakdowns. Protect your profits, minimize downtime, and sleep better. Call Tilden Total Car Care today and ask about their fleet maintenance program. Call 303-797-7977. 303-797-7977. Tilden Total Car Care, helping as many people as they can, as fast as they can. Federal in Bellevue and Inglewood, and 6th and Peoria in Aurora.
At Arvada West Auto, we know that fluids are the life of your vehicle. They are also complicated, with all the different types, from motor oil to gear oils to coolant. The types of fluids, service procedures, and intervals can vary widely. Let us help you sort out what your vehicle needs and when it needs to be serviced. Stop in or call us at Arvada West Auto, 11752 West 64th Avenue, 303-422-1065. You can visit us on the web at arvadawestautoandtruck.com.
John Rush, Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Dennis Brewster from Extreme Auto Repair is with us, along with Stacia and Emily up in Fort Collins from Community Auto. Eric has got a Nissan question. Eric, welcome to Drive Radio. What can we do for you?
Hey, John. Hey, on this 2015 Frontier of mine, the other night I put it up. I bought some aftermarket skid plates for it.
Okay.
So painted them up, got them all ready to go. Thursday night, put the truck up on ramps, crawl underneath it. Now, in order to get it up on the ramps, because all I wanted to do was push them, I had to put it in the 4 high. So I turned my little knob, got it locked in, pulled it up on the ramps, got the skid plates put on. When I was all done, backed it off. Didn't even give any thought to anything else with it. Friday morning, go to leave for work. Cranked the wheel hard to the left to make my 3-point turn to get out of my street. And, I mean, I might as well, it almost felt like I had to put the pedal to the floor, like everything was binding.
Yep.
That was going forward. When I put it in reverse to back up, it kind of wanted to do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, and I had set the parking brake on, so I released the park, double checked that, and then I happened to glance down and I noticed that, I was still in 4-wheel drive. But switched it back to 2-wheel drive, and it still kind of did it like at first for a few seconds, and then like I stopped, put the truck in reverse, backed up, and then put it back in drive, and it was fine. When I talked to Nissan and looking through the manual, they said, well, there's, I don't have to come out of, go in, stop and go into reverse to get the 4-wheel drive to release. And they were a little perplexed as to why it was doing that.
Why?
It would do that, and you got to unlock the hubs. And I don't know why, what happens is
they get bound up. And so when you go in reverse, you're helping to relieve some of that binding. And I'm not sure why the dealership would be perplexed at that. I mean, I've been in the 4-wheel drive world my whole life, and that's pretty standard.
Well, I mean, and I have too for a long time, but I mean, when you read the manual, it says, I've been driving it for a couple of months now doing Uber on the weekends, and I had to use my 4-wheel drive, on snow and ice.
Uh-huh.
And there's times where I've just gone from 2 to 4 and then right back to 2 and, not stopped and backed up or anything, and it was fine, didn't do anything. So it was really weird the way that it did.
The difference was it wasn't bound up then, and the condition you just talked about a minute ago, things were just bound up, that's all.
Okay.
The hubs were staying engaged is what it was.
They just get bound up. I mean, for example, I'll use my Dodge as an example. So I can put my Dodge in 4-wheel drive, back out of the drive, and if the pavement is all really hard pavement. So say I take my plow off and I back up, and I'm on dry pavement then at that point in time, but I'm in a turn because I've backed out from dropping my plow off. If I go right back into 2-wheel drive, it is not going to go into 2-wheel drive until I get some of that pressure released.
Okay, I see what you're saying. All right, yeah. All right, now it makes sense.
Yep, it's just that simple.
Yeah, like I say, it was just the weirdest thing. Hey, another quick question on this. Looking through the manual, talking to Nissan, even under extreme or severe, quote-unquote, driving conditions, they still recommend a 5,000-mile oil change interval.
Yep, you're fine on that vehicle doing it that way.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm at 15,000, I'm going to switch it to synthetic. And
Why wait?
Which will be, I just hit 10,000, and that was my last free oil change.
Okay, so the next one you're going to, since that was a free one, you're going to go synthetic on the next one is what you're saying?
Yeah, because I'll be on my own now.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because I asked them with the 10,000 if they would do it, and they're like, well, you have to pay for it. They said that's not part of your free oil change.
Got it. Yeah,
So
you're fine at that point. Run synthetic on the next one and run it from that point on. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Eric. Thanks so much for calling in. Appreciate the phone call very much. Couple lines open, 303-477-5600. Mark in Littleton, you're next.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, I have a 2000 Volvo, and I blew out my front top strut mounts.
Okay.
And I'm thinking about, and the Bilstein struts, and this is the second pair of strut mounts I've gone through with the Bilstein. So I'm thinking about replacing the whole assembly with what's called a quick strut assembly. Monroe makes one, and so does Pro Parts Sweden.
Right.
I wondered if you have any thoughts on that.
Stacia shaking her head yes, so you should jump in on this one, Stacia.
Yeah, the Monroe Quick Struts. That's an excellent product.
Okay, so Monroe doesn't make it for my car, but Pro Parts Sweden does.
Go for it.
Do you think they're manufactured by the same company? Probably Monroe or
There are
something like
only, to my knowledge, and last time I checked, somebody probably will correct me on this, and I'll get an email later, but I believe there are 6 actual shock companies in the world that actually produce shock absorbers. I may be off on that a little bit, but my point is there's not a lot. The majority of what you're seeing on the market is made by one of those 5 to 6 facilities.
Okay. Because I figured I could do that myself rather than having a whole bunch of tools I got to rent to compress the spring and do it all the different components.
Great idea. No, it's a great way to do it.
Great. Thanks, guys.
You're very welcome. Appreciate that. Yeah, and I don't think I'm off too far on that because last time I checked, there's only Tenneco and Gabriel here in the U.S. because Edelbrock used to, and they're out of it. Bilstein makes their own. KYB, I believe, still makes their own, and I think I found another 2 or 3 other oddballs in the world, China and so on, where there were a few others made, but that's about it. So the majority of shock absorbers in this country, anyway, are coming out of Tenneco, coming out of Monroe.
Yeah, and then people will say, well, you got to use some original manufacturer. Well,
Tenneco is Monroe.
Yeah.
That's who makes most of the original stuff. And then, by the way, when it comes to the suspension side of the fence on shocks, you'll always buy a better product in the aftermarket than what you bought from the factory.
Yes.
That's just the nature of the beast. Doesn't mean that they're bad from the factory. You'll just buy a better product in the aftermarket when it comes to the shock absorber strut side of the fence. Just a lot of that has to do with mass producing vehicles. It's done on a contract. They're trying to get the price down as far as they can. They're trying to get the ride quality as good as they can for a very large group of individuals. You can tailor that ride down to what you like. And anyways, that's what you do when you do the aftermarket side of the fence. Teresa, I think, is up next in Boulder. Welcome to Drive Radio.
Oh, that was quick. Oh, John, I love you dearly. I'm so glad you're on the radio all the time.
Thank you.
Okay. I have a 98 RAV4.
Okay.
I bought it in 2003, and it has 50,000 miles on it.
Okay.
And I haven't driven much since then, so it's only up to 118,000 now.
Okay.
And I took it into traded in for a truck, and these guys wanted it so badly, they practically gave the truck to me, and I said, the more they wanted it, the less I wanted to give it up. So I want to know how valuable is low mileage on a car like that, and the exterior is good, a few parking lot dings.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it, But
it adds the low miles adds a lot of value.
Plus that RAV4, those were great vehicles.
That's partially why. Yeah, they want not only the low miles but just the vehicle itself.
And that does have low miles. And if the interior was clean and everything else, man, that's
what kind of money were they offering you for it, Teresa?
Well, I can't even remember. It wasn't that long ago either. It was for a truck, and like I said, the more they wanted it, the less they wanted to let it go. And so, hey, wait a minute here. There's something going on that I don't know about. So,
yeah, there's not. I mean, just as an example, I just looked on Craigslist to see how many 98 RAV4s are even listed, and you won't believe this, but there's none listed right now for sale on Craigslist, which kind of tells you that most people are driving those things and not giving them up for sale.
Oh, it's a great little car for sure.
So
okay, all right. Another thing is, I've been keeping it up pretty well, but you can tell that I'm not driving it much.
Okay.
Do I have to follow that 3-year rule on oil changes?
If you're not driving, so how many miles a year, Teresa, do you think you're driving?
Oh, not much. Not much.
Under 5,000?
Yeah, probably.
An annual oil change for you with full synthetic oil and a good quality filter would be more than enough for you. Annual, once a year. So pick whatever month of the year you want to do your oil change and do it, and that's all you'd have to do.
And do a synthetic.
Do full synthetic with a high quality filter, and you'd be fine.
Okay, all right. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome, Teresa. Thanks so much for calling. You bet. Appreciate it very much. Thank you for that. Let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Lines are open, 303-477-5600. And I've got an email question that I'll get to as soon as we come back. Actually, I now have 3 that we have to answer as soon as we get back. So we'll do that here in just a second. Drive Radio, KLZ 560.
Your car's fuel economy was never better than when it was new. But time and miles have robbed your car of its MPG and performance. Service managers recommend BG44K to remove carbon and restore mileage in just 1 tank of fuel. In fact, dealerships nationwide use BG44K almost 3-to-1 over any other product. To find a shop at BG products, go to bgfindashop.com.
BG. Can you imagine selling your car next week and saying to the buyer, hey, don't worry, because the engine is covered against failure for life. It's called the Lifetime Protection Plan for the Engine from BG Products. Now imagine having this huge benefit free with your next oil service when you remember these 2 letters, BG. BGMOA is available at over 20,000 shops nationwide. Find yours at bgfindashop.com. That's bgfindashop.com. BG.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Especially important this time of year is to top off your wiper fluid. Make sure the fluid you choose is suitable for cold weather. If you're not sure, take it to any Colorado Select Car Care Center and they'll check it for you. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
We've all been there. You're under the hood and suddenly realize you don't have the parts you need. Or even worse, you don't know what parts you need. Well, at Napa Auto Parts, we have ASE certified parts specialists that'll make sure you find that right part. One covered by a warranty good at any one of 6,000 Napa locations. Yeah, finding the right part might not be easy, but fortunately, finding the right part store is. Go to NapaOnline.com for the location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
John Rush here. Want to talk to you again about pets, your pet in particular. But maybe you know somebody that has pets, but you have no idea where to direct them when there's some sort of an issue. Well, guess what? Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center, they are open every day of the year, including holidays. They run special hours on those days. They've got an emergency phone number. So this isn't one of those clinics where it's an 8 to 5 sort of a deal. But no, they do the whole 9 yards, including pet boarding. So, David, I know you've got a big dog, correct?
I do, a 3.5-year-old Alaska Malamute.
Have you ever had to board him?
Not so far. We only adopted him about a year ago.
Okay, so I've got a place for you. If you and your wife have to go out of town, there's no family, no one else to watch, you have family at Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center. They'll actually take care of your dog just like you would.
That's great. They would have to be very special because he's a special guy.
Well, normally, again, this is a great center. It's 2 stories. They've got a full basement underneath where they do the grooming, swim therapy. They've got a full, by the way, on the upstairs level, they've got a full medical center where they do surgeries, the whole 9 yards. They have got this deal figured out, everything from digital x-rays to ultrasounds to laparoscopic surgery. They've got it covered. Doesn't matter what it is. Anything you need, they can take care of. But when it comes to the boarding side of the fence, David, they'll do the whole 9 yards, and I've been there, I've seen it, and guess what? It doesn't smell like the typical kennel that you would normally walk into.
That's nice, and it's also nice to know that they can handle a large breed dog.
And they can handle it for every day. Let's say you wanted to do daycare. They'll do that, or if you're going to go out of town for the next 3 weeks, they'll take care of that also. So anything you need, Lone Tree Veterinary Medical Center is the place to go to. It's 303-708-8050. Call them today, or you can visit them online at LoneTreeVet.com.
This is Red Merrill for Phoenix Weaponry. Phoenix Weaponry is a weapon manufacturer that services the firearm enthusiast. From precision ARs to suppressors, Phoenix Weaponry can make your dreams come true. Phoenix Weaponry is a full-service gun shop that offers gunsmithing, coating, and modifications to your own weapon. Phoenix Weaponry, family-owned and operated right here in Colorado. If you can dream it, Phoenix Weaponry can build it. Call today, 720-340-2496. Again, that's 720-340-2496. Or visit their website, phoenixweaponry.com. Mention Sportsman of Colorado and receive 10% off your custom-built weapon.
All right, John Rush, Tribe Radio, KLZ 560. We've got a special guest, I think, coming up right now on, and I'm sorry, guys, my screen is blank. So line 1. Do we have the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile? Teresa, is that the name? No. Larry?
Kelly.
Kelly, make sure I do this right. Kelly, welcome to Drive Radio. How are you doing?
Thank you. Doing wonderful. How are you doing?
We're doing great. So fill us in on what's going on with the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile.
Yes, I'm here with my co-driver, Mustard Molly. Ketchup Kelly, and he's got Mustard Molly.
Mustard Molly and Ketchup Kelly. Right on.
Yes.
Do you have Relish Rick?
Oh, that's a good one.
Next time they will, Stacia. They will have Relish Rick with them next time. So, ladies, what are you doing today? Where are you at?
We are currently outside of a King Soopers in Glendale, Colorado, and we'll be here till 4 o'clock. So it's 4600 Leesdale Drive, King Soopers. So come on out, check it out, get your wiener whistle. We got postcards that we're letting people write, the loved ones, friends, whatever, and we're going to mail it out for you guys.
All right, so 4600 Leesdale Drive until 4 o'clock. And if you haven't, and I'll be honest with you guys, if you haven't seen the Wienermobile in person, you need to, because it's pretty cool. I've actually seen it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty rare opportunity. There are only 6 driving around the whole country, so you're a lucky dog if you get to see one.
Awesome, a lucky dog. Yay. Okay, so where's the Wienermobile headed from here?
Well, we're in the area for one more day tomorrow. We have another event in Aurora, Colorado, and another King Supers. But then after that, on Monday, we're actually headed out to Omaha, Nebraska. So
Okay.
stop out to see us before we hit the road.
All right. It's interesting you called in today. On my show this past week, I actually played one of your old commercials from way back when I was a kid. It was the, everybody loves Oscar Mayer. It's the, tough kids, sissy kids, even kids with chicken pox love hot dogs. So actually, that wasn't. It was pretty good. So, anyways, it's kind of ironic that you guys are calling in today with the Wienermobile. That's pretty good, actually.
Meant to be, I guess.
Meant to be. That's right. Meant to be. All right, we'll get folks out to see you. So, anybody out there driving around 4600 Leedsdale Drive, go see the Wienermobile. And ladies, if you come back through this way again, maybe we can get you to actually come in and come on air the next time you're in town.
Yeah.
Oh, we would love
Where in Aurora?
Okay, I tell you what.
Mustard Molly in person.
Let's do that. And okay, we just had a question. Where tomorrow in Aurora are you going to be specifically?
Tomorrow we will be at the King Supers from 11 to 4 as well, once again, at the 25701 East Smoky Hill Drive.
Okay, so that's east of the station here, so out on Smoky Hill Drive in Aurora.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, I tell you what I'm going to do. What I'm going to do, ladies, I'm going to put you on hold for just a minute. Larry, our producer, is going to get your information so that you guys know who to contact next time you're going to be in town, and we'll actually get you on air and let you come in studio. We'll do it that way. How's that sound?
Wonderful.
All right, let's do that. I'm going to put you on hold, and we'll get that taken care of. Let's go right back to the phones. That's a rare treat to have the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile calling in Drive Radio.
Yeah. And then who are you asking if they have?
Oh, Relish Rick.
Relish Rick.
Yeah, maybe they could bring him along
Relish
too.
Rick.
Yeah, or what about Betsy Buns?
Oh,
Really hoping for.
wow, you're quick.
Betsy Buns, Kelly Ketchup, Molly Mustard,
Oscar Onion.
Oscar Onion, Rick Relish, Molly Buns.
Wow.
No, did I say that right? Molly
Peter
Buns?
Pickle.
Peter Pickle.
Ooh, this is the perfect.
See, I'm one of these guys that where all I need is Molly Mustard because I'm a guy that does mustard on their hot dog only.
Yeah, I like mustard only.
That's it. Maybe a little cheese occasionally. So who would cheese? Charlie Cheese?
Sesame Sally.
Sesame Sally. Okay.
Well, you guys are quick.
Yeah, I would not have anything else on my, those people that put, relish and ketchup and all that on the hot dog.
Chuck E. Chili.
Oh, Chuck E. Chili.
Ooh,
You see, I'm not a chili dog guy. That's just not me.
Oh, John, listen out.
I'm sorry. Just
He doesn't get out much.
I grew up
Other
in
than Hawaii, and
I
that's
grew up
it.
in a home where we were lucky to have ketchup on the hot dog. So maybe it's just because I grew up that way.
Yeah.
There was nothing else we added. That was it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a lot. It was just, or I should say, mustard on the hot dog. It was just a little sliver of mustard, and off we went. That was it.
Yeah. And some onions.
I ate a lot of hot dogs when I was a kid, by the way, and bologna.
Yeah.
Did you get bologna when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. Fried bologna.
A lot of bologna.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why I'm
Never
full
had
of,
fried bologna?
is that why I'm full of bologna today?
Huh?
Is that why I'm full of bologna
You
today?
bet. You never had fried bologna?
Never.
Well, fried bologna's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you put the patty down on the frying pan, you cut little slits in
Look
the
at Larry,
edge so
he's
it
over
doesn't
there
pop
going-
up, and Larry knows exactly what I'm talking about. And you fry it up, you put a couple pieces on a piece of bread, and off
With
you go.
mustard.
With some mustard.
Yeah.
Pretty good. Sort of like a poor man's hot dog, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know, what costs more, hot dogs or bologna?
I don't know.
All right, back to the phones we go. Dave in Castle Rock, save us from all the hot dog talk. What's going on, sir?
All right, this should be an easy one here. I just picked up a Toyota Tacoma, the TRD Sport Package. It's a 2007. Just hit 75,000. It's a beautiful truck. It's red.
Those are great trucks.
Yeah, I love it. It's a 6-speed.
Okay.
What do I do on oil changes? Anything different than an automatic? Because this is the first 6-speed I basically had for. It's been about 20 years.
You want to
25 years.
run full? You want to run full synthetic in that? And if I were you, I'd change that around the 50K mark each time. If it were me.
Regardless.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
One more time. So full synthetic every 5,000 miles?
No, full. Well, no. Okay, so as far as the engine goes, you can do full synthetic. I'd still do 5 on that particular vehicle because of the age.
Okay.
As far as the transmission itself goes, I'd do 50K on the 6-speed manual.
Gotcha. Excellent. But you know what? This truck, it's almost like a sports car. It's just I'm sitting up, 10 inches higher.
Great.
It's been a really good truck.
They work really well.
14 grand.
Great vehicle. Good for you. Good job. All right, Dave. Appreciate the phone call. By the way, I drove a new 2016 Tacoma the other day. You can see the full review on drive-radio.com. Just go check out our YouTube channel. And I tell you what, that's a nice ride. They've done a good job. Tacoma's always been a real staple truck here in Colorado, and they didn't miss it at all when they did the 2016 model. It's a great vehicle. All right, let's do this. Michelle, you are next in Denver. What's going on today?
I'm sorry, did you see Michelle?
I did say Michelle. Welcome.
Okay. Hi, yes. I have a Nissan Armada that has 224,000 miles on it. I love the truck. We tow a boat every year with it, and the last time we're hooking the boat up, we heard a loud pop coming out of the back of the truck, and I was wondering if that could have been my tow mode, and if possibly the tow mode blew, and how I would know that, and how a tow mode works.
All the tow mode does is changes the settings when it comes to how the transmission itself shifts, and some power band in the engine itself as far as the fuel and timing curve goes. There is nothing physical that actually happens on the vehicle. It's all software programming when you go to tow mode. So if you heard something actually pop, it's something in the driveline, rear differential, something along those lines probably is where the problem is. I doubt, there's nothing software-wise that would have caused that.
And did the pop happen when you're...
Could have been we weren't moving. I had just hooked the boat up, and we hadn't moved at all. I was wondering if maybe it could have been shock absorbers. I mean, it's a truck.
Could be the leaf spring.
Yeah, could be that. It could also be... So was the trailer on it when you heard the pop?
Yes, I just hooked the trailer.
It could also be the ball. It could have been the trailer ball itself just settling down. You know, the trailer coupler itself just settling down on top of the ball a little further. Could have got a pop out of that. That's happened to me before on towing trailers.
A really loud one?
Yes.
Okay. It's never done that before. Okay. All right. Just love my truck. Wanted to make sure, you know, I keep it as good as possible.
Those are great vehicles. Good for you. You know, keep that thing up, and that vehicle, you still got another 100K or so left in that, so keep at it.
I hope so. I love those things.
Good for you. Good deal, Michelle. Thanks
you
so much for the phone call. We appreciate it very much. Dennis is up next. Dennis, welcome to Drive Radio. What can we do for you?
Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, doing great.
Good. I got a question on a homing trailer. Built a pickup box trailer out of an 85 Ford F-250 diesel box.
Got it.
Put a 7,000-pound axle underneath of it with trailer brakes.
Okay.
And I know it has a 3/4 ton designation, but what's the true weight capacity of something like that?
Single wheel?
Single wheel.
Probably 3,000 to 3,500 pounds max. I don't think I'd go any more than that on a single axle trailer. I don't care how heavy the axle is. It just starts to get really weird pulling it when you get much more weight than that in it. It's not because it won't haul it. It just gets funny towing it.
Okay. And what determines the weight capacity? Is it the springs, the axle, combination?
Frame, coupler on the front end itself of the trailer. So let's start from the front. Coupler, frame rail size, spring size on the axles themselves, how the trailer is actually constructed, all of that combined.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I've had well over a quart of firewood on that thing, and I didn't even know it was there.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, your limitation is going to be more in how heavy it gets as to how well you can still pull it without it swaying around. That's going to be more the limitation than anything else. And
what you're pulling it with?
Exactly. We had one of those growing up. My dad had done a similar trailer like that. We hauled that thing everywhere, and there were several times we had the thing, well overloaded. Again, if you're just careful with it and you know what you're doing, you shouldn't have any problems. But your limitation will be more on just, how it tows down the road than anything else.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
You too. Appreciate it very much, Dennis. Let's do this. We got one more segment coming back, and we'll try to get some of these email questions answered as we can. We got a bunch of them. If not, I will answer them once we get off air, so I'll do the best I can to do them on air. If not, I will answer all of these off air. So let's do this. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. Last segment, Drive Radio coming up. KLZ 560.
Colorado Select Car Care Centers present 560 ways to care for your car. Especially important during these colder months is to always keep your gas tank at least half full. This decreases the chance of moisture forming in the gas lines and possibly freezing. Colorado Select is a hand-picked group of shop owners who are ASE certified master technicians, driven to provide exceptional customer service with, at a minimum, a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on every repair. Find a Colorado Select Car Care Center near you at coloradoselect.org.
How stressful. You hear a noise, see a fluid leak, feel something funny, a little light comes on your dash, or your car totally breaks down, and you have no idea what it means, what to do, or how to fix it. With how much we depend on our cars to go about our daily lives, you'd think they'd teach us this stuff in school. Luckily for you, you have us. At Community Auto, we're serious about what we do, and we're darn good at it. Having served Fort Collins and Northern Colorado for over 20 years, our family-owned and operated AAA-approved shop has family that extends far beyond our garage doors. At Community Auto, we put the emphasis on care, not just auto repair. Ladies, ever felt intimidated going into an auto repair shop? Scared you'll be taken advantage of? Our female staff is friendly, knowledgeable, and will thoroughly explain and educate you on what's going on with your car. You'll be in the know and in turn be taken care of. Because at Community Auto, we know that a happy car will get you far.
At Napa, we're always trying to make the great parts we sell even better. From the bacteria-killing surface on our cabin air filters to our revolutionary new Adaptive One brakes. And every Napa part is covered by a warranty good at any of our 6,000 Napa Auto Parts stores. Yeah, maybe you don't get this at your average auto parts store, but we've spent the last 80 years making sure we were anything but average. Go to NapaOnline.com for a location nearest you. Napa, get the good stuff.
Every car has a transmission, and every transmission needs servicing, but most drivers ignore their transmission. Don't fix what ain't broke, as they say. Larry's Automotive is the area's most respected transmission and driveline repair facility, and they'll tell you that most of the expensive repairs they do could easily have been avoided with regular scheduled maintenance. Maybe they were told by a mechanic that their transmission fluid was getting dark, or maybe there was a slight hesitation between gears. Whatever the case, they are now faced with expensive repairs. Larry's technicians are ATRA and ASE certified, and their warranty covers you even if you're out of town. And while there's nobody better for transmission repair than Larry's Automotive, the truth is, they would have preferred to do the preventive maintenance instead. Larry's Automotive and Transmission Repair, the Driveline Pros on Bradburn Boulevard in Westminster. Call 303-427-2108. 303-427-2108.
All right, John Rush Drive Radio, KLZ 560. Let's see if we can go through some of these emails real quick. So I'm not doing these in any particular order. This one's coming from John. He's got a 6.7 Ford that heard a loud clunking or a loud ticking from the 2011 F-350 6.7 Ford. Pulled over. It was dumping oil. Dealership and a private auto repair shop both say that it's got a broken crank and will require a new engine, estimated at $16,000 to replace. Have you ever heard of a crank just failing under normal conditions? It's got 170,000 miles on the truck. No warranty. Ford won't help. Insurance won't help. John, yes, I have. That's why I don't buy. I own one of those Fords, and I probably will not buy another one. Because, yes, that's a common problem on a 6.7 Ford, especially in model year 2011.
And, you know, what he can do is just call customer assistance and say, you know, I will never buy another Ford. And I'm going to tell everybody else not to do that.
And you can see if you can see if you can get anything out of it at all. But yes,
no.
John, I've heard that before. And, yeah, and honestly, there's not much you can do other than to bite the bullet and put an engine in it, or sell the truck, or decide what else you want to try to do with it. I'm not sure
worth anything without an engine running.
Okay, so next question. Got a 2016 Tacoma TRD Sport. Just talked about that truck a moment ago, by the way. Double cab, thinking of lifting it a couple of inches. What are your thoughts on spacer lifts? Will they eventually damage the front suspension parts, including the shocks and strut? I am not a huge spacer lift fan. They work in certain circumstances. In your particular case, there is a local company that actually builds some Toyota suspension kits. And I tell you what, I will just email you back who I think you should use on that. We used to use them all the time. They're a good company. They're local, and they do all Toyota suspension stuff, and it's good stuff. And that's what I would recommend. I do full suspension rather than just doing a spacer.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. All right, next one. 2004 Tacoma intake manifold cleaning is a subject line. 2004 Tacoma with a 3.4 truck has 110,000 miles on it. Bought it new. It's been perfect all these years with only the regular maintenance that's needed. Now has occasional hard starts. Have to overcrank the engine occasionally, once every 12 starts or so to get it started. No other problems. Runs fine. 2 questions. Will fuel injector cleaner like Techron help? If so, what's the best product? By the way, 44K is the best product to use on that if you're going to do any type of a fuel injector cleaning. And then to clean the air intake manifold, will Seafoam spray, the do-it-yourself product, work, or is there something else to use for a DIY person? And is this something that will likely help that hard start problem? That's from Sean.
I'm not so sure if it's that problem. I think it's more like a fuel related. It could be a fuel pump that's getting weak, that you have to build up pressure on.
Okay.
I don't know. That would take some diagnosis.
And I think, Sean, to Dennis's point, I would do further diagnostics on that before I just, not that the items you're talking about wouldn't help because they're just good preventative maintenance items, but I'm not sure they're going to fix the problem.
Yeah, I think that's a different situation.
And in both cases, by the way, those are both good products. The Seafoam's a good product as far as the intake is concerned. The 44K will work well when it comes to the injector cleaning. Outside of that, though, I'm with Dennis. I think I would get it I would get it fully diagnosed if it were me. Guys, thoughts?
Agreed.
Same thing?
Yeah, get it diagnosed.
Okay. On the 6.7 Ford, back to the diesel engine. Anybody doing anything cheaper than the 16K price? That's probably coming from the dealer as far as a long block lows. Any other ideas on that, Dennis?
No. That's just it.
They're not going to be cheap. That is an expensive.
And that's not an engine that you have to have a certain guy that can actually go in there to rebuild that. Because there's some tricks in that thing you need to know.
Yeah, and and the body comes off, by the way, to do that. So the body comes off the truck.
You lift the truck up.
Yep, you lift the body off the truck to do that engine. It is a job.
Wow. I can send you pictures.
That's where a lot of the dollars come into play. It is a huge job.
A couple of years ago, we did one. I don't think it was a 2011. I'd have to look up and see. But we replaced the crank on one, and if you don't, even if you mark the flywheel,
wow,
and you put it back on, it's going to have an engine vibration.
Wow, wow.
It's just those are tough trucks.
Okay, real quick, we didn't get to talking about our racing topic, so I'll table that one for another time. But here's what I do want to get into is the real quick, the 7 automotive myths. Okay, we got time for this. We got about 5 minutes. This will work out perfect. Myth number 1: car dealers are out to take advantage of every customer. Not really. In fact, the competition that's out there, in most cases, most car dealers have gotten smart and they realize that they're going to have to be pretty fair with what's going on with you, the customer. I say that to say this. Are there still some unscrupulous car dealers, used and new, out there? Absolutely, there are. Be really careful which ones you're using because some can do a really good job for you. On the same token, some will not do such a good job for you. I have an article here today that I'm going to save for the future because there's a particular used car dealer up in Greeley that's taking advantage of people when it comes to the financing of the car. So we'll cover that, I think, at a later date.
But is that a dealership or is that a used car
dealer?
There's a difference.
There is.
There is a difference.
There is. Myth number 2, the 3,000-mile oil change. We talked about that earlier. You do not have to change the oil on your truck or your car 3,000 miles. Every 3,000 miles any longer. Most of the new vehicles can go much longer than that.
If you're using synthetic oil change.
Correct.
Yeah.
Almost every manufacturer has extended their recommended oil change intervals. For example, Porsche specifies an oil change interval of 10 or 12,000 miles for most of their cars. Believe it or not. Those of you guys that are driving diesel trucks, by the way, you definitely, in fact, for years, I've recommended you don't need to do a 3,000-mile oil change on a diesel truck because they've got 10, 12, 14 quarts of oil. You can definitely go 5, 7. On my personal truck, I run 10,000 miles on an oil change on my truck. Just because of the capacity that's inside of it. You just don't need to go any sooner than that.
And depending on what you're using it for.
That's exactly right.
Because we go 7.
Yeah. For in your case, yes, I would go 7. Myth number 3, the penny test. You know how you use the penny, the head of the penny, to determine whether or not your tires are worn? And I would agree with this. They're saying don't use a penny, use a quarter, use a George Washington instead of a Lincoln because your thickness is thicker on a quarter than it is a penny. The head on the penny really isn't enough tread. Like the storm we have coming up this week, that's not enough tread.
And the quarter might not be enough tread.
For this next storm, it probably won't be.
Yeah, it depends on the tires, and how hard they are.
That's exactly right.
They are.
No, you want to make sure, especially in this next snowstorm, that really, I'm one that says in this next snowstorm we've got coming up, you need half-life or better.
Yeah.
When it comes to tires.
Okay? You guys see a lot of that up in Fort Collins?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Not enough tread on tires. Yeah. So that's a big one for me. Number 4, don't buy a car built on a Monday or a Friday. Yeah, I'd say that's a myth. The way productions are now, you can buy a car. Doesn't matter what day it's built. Just,
how you're not going
to know anyways.
No.
You don't. They'll give you the month that it was built, but they're not going to give you you're not going to know the date.
The date.
Yeah. Myth number 5, engine oil that has turned black is no good. That means it's doing its job if it's black. Actually,
working.
yeah, you want it black.
Yeah.
If it's not black, something's wrong.
It's time to change it.
Now, if it's clumpy,
That's not good. You don't want clumpy oil for sure. Number 6, you can drive a long distance on empty. No.
ooh, no, I don't recommend.
In fact, I'm one that, and we've recommended this for years on this show. We haven't talked about it much recently, but the reality is you probably shouldn't let your car get much below a quarter of a tank ever. Ever.
Especially in Colorado, because you can get into a snowstorm that you're going to be stuck there for a while, and you might have to idle for a long time.
Snowstorms keep that fuel pump cool by having more fuel in the tank, things like that. You're just better off, less condensation. If you can keep the tank full, you're much better off than keeping it empty. And right now with fuel prices where they're at, there's no excuse to not have a full tank.
No excuse.
$1.45, somebody showed me a picture of the other day filling up.
Yeah. There was one $1.47 I saw somewhere.
This person actually showed me on their cell phone. They took a picture of the readout on the pump, $1.45 here in the metro area.
Could you tell us where that is?
He didn't tell me. I don't remember where that was. It was Dan. I have to ask Dan. Dan filled up for $1.45.
I heard him talking on the radio about that.
So Dan, if you're listening, text me. Tell me where you filled up for $1.45. I did see up in my neck of the woods, up in the north end of town, $1.47. So to your point, Dennis, it's getting pretty cheap. I saw diesel the other day for $1.65.
Yeah, I'm loving that.
Which is cheap.
Oh,
Me too.
Yeah, because we go through a lot of diesel.
Oil prices are going to stay down for. All right, we got a minute left. Number 7, having work performed at an independent shop will void your new car warranty. We all know that's false.
No.
Yeah, I love hearing that one because that is so false.
That has been false forever.
What, since 1974?
Since Magnuson Moss Act, you can take your car anywhere you want for its general maintenance, and it will not ever void the warranty, period. If a dealership ever tells you that, they are lying to you, flat out, bold-faced lie.
Give me a call. I'll show you how to get through that.
The rule is, if they're requiring you to do something specific on your vehicles, let's say they say, well, you have to come back here and have your oil changes done because you have to use our oil filter. The rule is, or the law is, they have to provide you with that oil filter and oil for free.
Yep.
Free of charge. That's the Magnuson Moss Act. Okay. And it applies to everything, including your dishwasher. So you buy a new dishwasher and they say, this thing won't stay in warranty unless you use our soap. They have to give you the soap if that were the case. That's the Magnuson Moss Act. It's not just for vehicles, it's for anything you buy on the retail end of things. Dennis Brewster, thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you.
It's always a blast. No, it's good. Well, thanks for filling in while I was gone. Stacia Hemp, thank you for joining us from Community Auto.
Thanks, John.
And of course, your sister, Emily, thank you also.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it very much. Mindy on the other side of the glass, Larry Unger, our producer. Thank you guys so much. Don't miss the Wienermobile, 4600 Leedsdale Drive, and then tomorrow it'll be out at Smoky Hill. The King Super's out there in Aurora. Don't miss that. And guys, I'll be back Monday. Rush to Reason. Stay safe. Be safe in the snow. Sportsman of Colorado coming up next right here on KLZ 560. This has been Drive Radio. John Rush, your host. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
Still haven't had enough? Go to drive-radio.com. Email your questions and comments. Download previous programs and find lots of useful information, including your nearest Colorado Select Auto Care Center. That's drive-radio.com. Thanks for listening to Drive Radio, sponsored by the member shops of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers on KLZ 560.
Drive Radio is a presentation of Colorado Select Auto Care Centers. The independently owned and operated shops of Colorado Select hold each other accountable for the highest standards of technical expertise, honesty, and professionalism. They all understand that choosing a mechanic is risky business, so Colorado Select was created by this exclusive group of like-minded professionals who are dedicated to raising the level of consumer confidence in Colorado's auto repair industry. Schedule your next oil change at any of the Colorado Select Auto Care Centers heard on Drive Radio, and you'll immediately see the difference. For the complete list of all the member shops in the state, visit drive-radio.com.
KLZ AM 560, KLZ HD Denver. Online, streaming at KLZ560radio.com. KLZ 560.
Small business is the engine of America, and thus salute companies like Extreme Auto Repair of Parker, who remind